Friday night, 7 p.m., New York. Here we go. We got CrossFire, guys. I'm very excited. An outstanding show for everybody tonight. This is one of those great nights where I have a panel together. A lot of talk going on in the community. Games are coming out. We are about to go into an absolute blazing event of games coming out starting in August right through September, October, November. You guys already know. Just want to say thanks to everybody. Couple new things, too. I was just talking behind the scenes to some of the folks. I like to talk a little bit behind the scenes, too. And we were going to do a little bit of a switch up here. I'm going to do some new things on the channel. I'm going to do a video to kind of talk about it. We're not going to talk about it tonight. But a couple things I'm thinking about doing. And I want to get the consensus of the audience. You guys are the boss here. Let's be honest. Without you guys, there's no channel. So I'm going to do a video. I'm going to ask for things in the comment section, see what you guys think about the changes, see if you like them. We'll go that route. We'll get more content on the channel. But that being said, if you look at that outstanding description down there, it took me forever to write that. It's like a week. I think my English teacher would have given me at least a B+ on that. Right above that is that join button. A lot of people in the chat. I see Julian Johnson, who I gamed with earlier tonight. Unbelievable, man. Great game, by the way. We got a W in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Outstanding, Julian. Appreciate that. Guy actually taught me everything about the game before we even went into it. BC Lord Metroid, JC 2013. I see all you guys. Truth Serum. This channel wouldn't exist without you guys. So I want to say thank you to each one of you one by one. And while you're all shuffling in, please hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Your name comes up in lights. Everybody loves their names in lights. That being said, I want to call each one of these folks out one by one because I hang out with them. We game, we talk, we party. They are phenomenal. They are my life. The great Surex Man, JudaZuk, WoolleyGamer, MumbleRanting Gaming, Tyson Web 509, TrueWiddy, Big Chuck 77, Alphonso Carter, BRAP, who you're going to hear from soon, Jamie, Damion, the great Jimmy Harrison, who's here. I already talked to him. Andy Hart, Red Hood 420, who's also going to be joining us shortly. He's doing another podcast right now with the Great Big Cloud, actually. It's going to be a great... Go over and check that show when you're done. They did an outstanding show right before this one, so shout out to Red and Bit doing their thing out there. The great Hamsolo, Rob Jones, Night Ripper 7, Totodope, ThumbsThumbs, JC2 2013, pardon me. Passive Prophet, Lord Metroid, who's here, Rabbit Got the Gun, Fastbender, Archwar Angel, Biggity08, Sonyverse, and the great Slow-Mo Backslap, and our major Mooch Maniacs, Corey Massey, Truth Serum, Astro Cyborg, Ryan Landis, Freddy214, Jeeves, Swiss437, Brian East, God Emperor Sofa King, Rig Opal. These names are getting tougher and tougher to pronunciate. Jeff B. Gaming, RPG88, Harry Ball, Zach, that's with a Z. Julian Johnson, your boy Roy, Scolari Brothers, Smokes 901, DC Gaming, Miko, Gaming with Persona, and J-Bar. You're going to hear from Persona tonight. But I got to tell you something, guys. I check out the What's Up PlayStation podcast every Saturday at 11 a.m. Eastern. It's how I start my Saturdays, and I recommend it's how you start yours. The great tactical gamer, Danelle Brown, that guy Smitty, Brian B, a.k.a. Delirium Blades, and our VIP Mooch Maniacs, General the Ape. I got Silent Merc, Raji, Domino Zero, Shadow Assassin, the Wise Old Gamer, and our honorable mentions. We got Samurai, Supreme Samurai, where are you? Dad of War, 4-Star General, Button Basher Podcast, DexFlex27. They're out there without food, water, or toilet. Come home. And our forever Mooch Maniacs, Longshot 316, and the great Optimus Code. There's Julian Justice. Mooch, we were lit. Happy Friday to everybody. Julian, thank you so much. The super chat's working. It's a miracle. Julian, thanks so much for that super chat. And honestly, buddy, thanks for hitting me up earlier and getting me to game on a day where I usually just work straight through. So I appreciate that break. I needed it. That being said, what an outstanding show we have for you guys. Let's get right to it. This panel's ready to go, and we've got a lot to talk about. Listen, you know him on Wednesday nights, 9 p.m. Eastern. I'm going to give him the plug already before he does it himself. The Great Basement Radio Arcade Podcast, BRAP. BRAP, how the hell you doing tonight, buddy?
Hey, Mooch. Happy to be back. It's Friday. Got
Absolutely.
a great panel. Looking forward to discuss the video games.
Oh, we're definitely going to be doing that, buddy. I can't wait, and I appreciate you being here. I know it's been a long week for you, so thanks for being here tonight, BRAP. I got my buddy here, too, Dark Optimus. Listen, just when you thought this show was going to be all rainbows and sunshine, just when you thought that was going to happen. Nope. Dark Optimus is here to make sure everybody stays grounded and stays a little bit in the shadows. Dark, welcome back to the show, buddy. How you doing tonight? Kinda, yeah.
like he rains on everybody's
just a little.
What's up, man? Happy to be here, dude. You know, ready to. It's gonna be fun.
Absolutely, buddy. I can't wait. And then I got my buddy here, Persona. You guys know him from What's Up PlayStation. Persona's very vocal on Twitter, very vocal on the YouTube streets. Persona, listen, I got to tell you, man, you have really warmed up to the CrossFire audience. You know this already. But realistically, tonight's going to be interesting because if we get a mix of 50-50 PlayStation, Xbox guys and gals in the chat, I'll tell you some of these topics. I know how you kind of feel, but I can't wait to hear how you truly feel. Persona's back on CrossFire. Buddy, how you doing tonight?
Hey man, listen, it feels good to be back. Shout out to the chat. Yeah, you know, when I first was coming on the show, Mooch, you know, who you got this Persona guy? Who is that? I don't like him. He sounds like a fanboy. Oh my god. I don't like his opinions, Mooch. If you bring him on the show again, I'm unsubscribing.
That's right, I'm leaving.
But you know, they still came back, right? But
Yes,
yeah, you know, they warmed up to me, man. They know how it is. I'm happy to be here, man. Shout out to you, Mooch. Shout out to the great panel here. And I can't wait to get into the topics and talk about everything on this lovely summer Friday evening. Appreciate y'all. Make sure y'all hit the like button as well, man. Make sure you hit the like button, share it out, man.
Please do what Persona said. Please, I could use the help. I appreciate that. And listen, you know, every once and again, we were talking about this. I mentioned it at the beginning of every show, how much it is important to me that the Mooch Maniac family members, you guys joining the channel, people reach out to me all the time. Anytime you guys want to come on, I know Lord Metroid, by the way, Lord Metroid, who's in the chat, he says, Mooch, can I get on the show? I said, absolutely. So I think we're going to see Lord Metroid either next week or the week after. And anybody that wants to come on the chat, the show, just reach out to me on Twitter. Let's see what we can do. That's what your boy Roy did about a couple months back. I want to say 2-3 months. He says, listen, I'd love to be on the show. Meanwhile, what does he do after this show? Launches his own channel, gets on Twitch, very active on YouTube and Twitter, now known as X. Roy is back with us. Roy, I got to tell you, man, I am absolutely impressed how you left this show and you just hit the gas pedal and took off, buddy. So bravo to you for taking that big step into the YouTube world and on Twitch. But welcome back to CrossFire. How you doing tonight?
Hey, man, this is a hell of a compliment. I'm very excited to be back. Yeah, just get going on Twitch and YouTube, and we'll grow. But I am so excited to get into this conversation tonight, and I got some Tennessee whiskey to help fuel the conversation.
Well, that always helps the conversation spark a little bit of a rise. So thank you, Roy. I appreciate that. This next guest, I got to tell you, there's a reason I waited till the end because I am very excited to have the great Ash and Luca back again. I met Luca almost, I want to say, 8 years ago on MNC More. I know, right? I
was still in my early 20s. Like
you are
I'm
still
30 now.
very young, Luca. Okay,
I know.
But she came on the show and she literally lit up MNC Mornings. I don't even think MNC Mornings would have been any good without the great Ash and Luca. Luca, honestly, Scum on One, Scumcast. People know you throughout all these gaming streets. It's an honor to have you here. The lovely Luca is with us tonight. Luca, how you doing tonight?
Good. I'm doing really good. Thank you so much for having me. What's up, guys? Luca here. Let's go ahead and get these arguments started, right?
Yes,
Yeah?
right away. Why put anybody any more on this waiting game? Let's get right to it. So, Luca, I'd like to put you on the hot seat first here because you've been on the you haven't been on the show the longest, and that's going to change, by the way. But I do want to say this much. Let's just ask this question. So, I'm excited. I know that you're excited. Oh, I shouldn't say that. I want to know if you're excited. Starfield has gone gold. Now, you know that. But
Yes.
what was it that leading up to us hearing that it was going to go gold? Like, is this a game that you were looking forward to, A? B, was the fact that it just went gold and then review copies went out the next day, is that necessarily something that kind of was on your radar? And three, and if you want me to repeat these, I will. The third part of it is with the actual reviews going out almost hours before it actually launches on September 1st, is there a bit of a cause for concern or this game is going to be just fine?
Okay, so yes, to answer the first question, I'm very excited about Starfield. Unlike some people, I actually like Bethesda games. I am a fan of Bethesda Game Studios. I've played games from Machine Games, so I played the
Mhm.
Wolfenstein franchise. I played the Dishonored franchise, and I was a big fan of Skyrim. And then I put I played Fallout 3. I tried Fallout New Vegas on PlayStation 3, and yeah, it was an experience, but like I played Fallout 3 and then I beat Fallout 4 multiple times and I have like several hundred hours in that game. So I'm very much looking forward to that. Um okay, what was the second question?
Basically, about it took so long for, well, it didn't really take that long for them to go gold. A lot of people were saying going gold is kind of an old metric now. And I know Persona's chomping at the bit to get to this because we were talking about this last week and we were talking about it on Twitter. But it is still a record, right? So you get to that level, and then the minute they went gold, the review copies went out, and now we're not going to hear anything about the reviews till hours before, people who pretty much are going to want to play on September 1st already purchased the game. Is that a cause for concern?
Okay, so for the going gold, do most studios announce that they gold on that like just normal thing?
I would say, I don't want to never speak in absolutes. BRAP will tell you that. We don't do that here. But I'll tell you, most do generally say when they've gone gold. Most, not
Yes,
all.
I'm just curious. What does going gold mean? Because these games the last year or so have been releasing super broken. So what is that?
It
What does that
typically
even
means,
mean?
and guys, correct me on the panel, by the way, guys, it's CrossFire, chime right in. The way I've always understood it is when it's gone gold, the base edition, the game itself is complete at that point. It used to be, it
Quote, unquote,
really was a
complete,
record.
yes.
It was really a record to say that they were completed and they were going to start making physical copies. That's when physical copies would start being printed and it would go out. Nowadays, of course, the physical copy thing, we're mainly into the digital era. But at the same time, so somewhat, you could say that going gold doesn't hold the weight it used to.
It doesn't. It really doesn't hold the weight it used to, in my opinion. Mostly because what does that really mean?
Mhm.
I'm not gonna speak in absolutes, but at least from my perspective, and of course the small group of people that I speak to, we typically buy our games online, most of them. So of course, I'm sure there are metrics elsewhere, numbers elsewhere. So I'm only speaking of myself. But I don't really think much of the concept of going gold if it's like printing physical copies, because again, we are getting collector's editions that don't even have the physical copy in it. We're getting some box sets which only have the code and not the disc in it. I just don't think it has the same meaning as it used to, in my opinion. And also, again, again, a lot of these games are launching broken, so
Mhm.
I don't put a lot of weight in that. Now, as for whether or not I'm concerned, it's Bethesda. It's
Right.
Bethesda. Okay, I know what to expect from their games. I had to wait to play Skyrim. I had to get the legendary edition, initial legendary edition of Skyrim for
Mhm.
the PlayStation 3 because it didn't work on the PlayStation 3, you know?
Yeah.
Because it was a mess. And then I personally didn't have any issues with Fallout 4 when I played it on PS4 day 1,
Mhm.
but I know a lot of other people did. You know what I'm saying?
I do.
So it's just like for me, um I always have this expectation that Bethesda games are going to have some issues, you know? So it's just like, all right, well, we'll see what happens there. We'll see um how far the bugs go, if they're game breaking bugs that will keep people from progressing. I When it comes to review codes coming out late, yeah, I mean, I again, I do think that's always a cause for concern. In most cases, I would say er, the only instance I can think of when that wasn't actually it didn't actually lead to the game being a complete and total disaster was with Doom 2016, I believe, where
Mhm.
I think they had reviews go out like day 1 or something. So, and then the game ended up being like fantastic for a lot of people. So, you know,
Mhm.
I'm just going to wait and see because there is always this expectation of the games having some bugs and issues, but since they were ready, quote unquote, ready to launch the game last year, according to Todd, and then they were given an extra year. I do, even though Todd's one of my favorite liars, I do believe the reports that come out when he's just like, oh, yeah, this is going to be our most stable game yet. And I was talking to one of my friends about that, and they were just like, what? That's such a ridiculous statement because what does that even mean? I'm just
Yeah.
like, yeah, I hear what you're saying there. So I'm looking forward to the game. I'm not concerned. I'm not worried. I will wait and see. And I will admit I am biased. I like Bethesda games. I
Mhm.
love them, but we'll see.
Well, a lot of people, Luca, I like your answer, but I want to piggyback off a few things, and I want to hear what Persona's got to say. A lot of people are like, doesn't it seem like when you turn on Twitter every single day, everybody's just like, oh, I can't wait for Starfield. I can't wait for Starfield. I can't wait for Starfield. Oh, Starfield, hashtag Starfield. And I'm like sitting there and I'm like, so everybody loves this game. And I'm just, nobody, it doesn't matter what other game we talk about. There's a lot of people that are like, I don't like that game. It seems like everybody, especially in the media, everybody loves this game. Everybody can't wait to play it. They can't wait this. They can't wait for that. So, Persona, my question to you when it comes to something like this, and we'll get into what happened with the No Man's Sky tweet that went out earlier today. But like realistically, when it comes down to it, there's a lot of similarities between this game and No Man's Sky. I am not saying it's a 1-to-1 Persona. By no means am I saying that. But I am asking you a question here. If No Man's Sky is out there and you can mine and you can create and you can make your ship better and you can make your character better and you can actually play co-op and you can go to 4 zillion planets, where also in No Man's Sky, most of them are going to be vacant with, minerals and maybe a couple of animals on there or different types of creatures. This does just seem like a Bethesda version of No Man's Sky. Persona, where are you seeing this hype? Do you think the hype is warranted? Or is it really because it's Bethesda's baby that's taken 20 years to produce?
Hey, Mooch, man, you know how to ask those. You asking the wrong questions to the right person. You feel me?
I know it.
All right. So I'm gonna be honest here, right? I think when it comes to Bethesda, Bethesda does have a huge following, right? Like, that there are a lot of people, especially within the PC community, who love Bethesda games, love modding those games. I mean, to this day, Skyrim is still being modded and played and worked on and whatnot, right? So I think when it comes to the hype for Bethesda's games, and I'm taking this outside of Twitter, I think it's legit. When you start bringing things into Twitter, especially into the community where we all tend to congregate, and you've heard me talk about this a number of times, oftentimes people tend to hype things up and not necessarily play or even complete these games. So when it comes to some of those people, I'm a bit skeptical if they are going to complete the game. They'll try it, sure, it's in Game Pass, so everybody will try it. But in terms of playing and completing the games, only the real Bethesda fans are going to be the ones that's going to really stick with this game and complete it, in my opinion. But I think when it comes to like the comparisons of No Man's Sky and all this other stuff, I mean, that's not like, because a lot of people try to chalk that up to console war stuff, and that's not what that is.
No.
Like, you can really look at this game and say, yeah, like you can see where there is a lot of inspiration from No Man's Sky. Now, I'm not saying it's not going to have its own Bethesda unique twist. Clearly, we've seen that with the Summer Game Fest, that big reveal,
Yes,
where they showed like all of the RPG elements and all these different things. Like it's clearly a Bethesda game in its own right when it comes to having that essence and what people that love Bethesda games expect. But there's definitely inspiration from No Man's Sky when it comes to some of the things you can do in this game, and that's not necessarily a bad thing, because people take inspiration from all types of games all the time when they're building their own games. So I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing, but I think people, again, when we look at our community or the community on Twitter, people try to twist it into the console war stuff. So yeah, I think that's what that is.
No, and that's a great answer, Persona. I like how you kind of said that, and it's funny because I see Astro Cyborg, I see in the chat, and I understand he says it's definitely console war stuff. I don't think so either. I think that really you're making a good point, and of course, anything defensive on that, they're going to say, "Wait a minute, you're just starting something." But BRAP, let me ask you real quick. I know for a fact, Luca told me she's excited for it. BRAP, I know you've been saying it on this show for 6 months, maybe longer, because we really didn't get into the whole Starfield hype until this past June, and we knew that it was definitely going to come out, and it wasn't going to be another delay, so we knew it was coming. You're really excited for this, BRAP. I mean, the thing about it, though, is a lot of people are saying, well, it's Fallout in space, or it's Skyrim in space. Like, what is your take on... the thing about it, when someone says to me, BRAP, and I want to hear your opinion, but when someone says to me, Mooch, it's Skyrim in space, Skyrim had magic, and it had dragons, right? And you guys know this, I didn't play, but I didn't play Skyrim, but it had all of this magic and lore and this and that, and this looks to be a little bit more of a step back, right? This is going to be exploring planets, mining. There's definitely going to be an RPG element to it. There's going to be good story. I'm sure Bethesda's going to have a good story to it. But when you say Skyrim, there's a lore there, right? Same thing with like Game of Thrones when we're talking about different things. It's a Game of Thrones versus a space show, right? It's two different types of things. And I think the Skyrim thing really engulfs people. You put dragons in a video game, or you put magic into a video game. That's why Avowed has so many people's interest peaked. I'm not necessarily sure that Skyrim's going to hold people in as long as Skyrim. But BRAP, I want to hear your take on it.
Yeah, so I think the Skyrim comparisons are I think just I, in my opinion, at least, I think they were made because we didn't know a lot about Starfield. We knew that this game was going to have a huge, open world setting, be in this huge open world setting or universe, and that's Skyrim. I mean, it's the scale scope of Skyrim is just massive, and so, and that's kind of Bethesda's. That's their MO. Those are the kind of games that they create. They create these massive open world games where you can pretty much interact with anything in the world. Hence the ability to hoard sandwiches in Starfield. But so I think that's where the comparisons came from,
Yeah.
and why people were saying it's Skyrim in space. So obviously it's not, because for the things you just mentioned, Mooch, like there's no dragons, there's no magic. There was a developer Q&A this week for the from
Yes.
developers of Bethesda. Yeah, they talked about the inspiration. So the inspiration being science fiction pieces, movies, things like that. Stanley Kubrick's
Okay.
Space Odyssey 2001,
Yes.
Battlestar Galactica, Buck Rogers. I mean, those are shows that I grew up watching
Yeah, absolutely.
as a youngster. I mean, Mooch, you and I are close to age. You probably remember
I remember
some
those.
of those shows too. So, so I'm not surprised to see some similarities to No Man's Sky, because part of Sean Murray's inspiration for No Man's Sky was based on a lot of science fiction pieces that were created during the 70s, 80s, early 80s, Star Wars, Star Trek, things like that. So, so I look, as you know, Mooch, I'm really excited for this game. I think a lot of the hype and excitement that we're seeing is because it's, I think part of it's because, look, Fallout 76 was not a good Bethesda game. I mean, it's better now, but it didn't stick the landing. So I think in some ways, Bethesda fans are looking at this as kind of Todd Howard's redemption to Fallout 76. So I think that's one part of why people are kind of excited and optimistic about this game. I think the other thing too is this is Todd Howard's Bethesda Softworks' first new IP in over 20 years. And look, there's a pedigree. There's a pedigree there. I mean, Skyrim, we talked about Skyrim. Skyrim was a huge success. It's still doing very well. Like I think it was Persona mentioned the mod community. I mean, big shout out to Slummo, who posted something on Twitter. Maybe it was PMS Jordan who put this out, but there was like a Skyrim mod out there, and I'm looking at like this mod, and the visuals look insane. Look like modern day visuals of Skyrim. I'm like, I might have to download this mod. But I think a lot of it is there is a fan base, especially on PC,
Yes,
that really digs Bethesda software games, and I think you're probably going to see a lot more engagement on PC with Starfield,
right.
given that's kind of where I think the majority of the fan base is. So, but I think a lot of it is, and I think probably for the Xbox fans, I mean, let's face it, like they haven't had this is like their first new AAA IP for the Xbox in, how many years? Like a very long time, right?
New
Maybe,
IP. It's since Sea of Thieves, I believe. Correct, unless you want to count. Well,
Sea of
Hi-Fi
Thieves?
Rush, but I don't.
Well, Hi-Fi, I wouldn't say Hi-Fi Rush.
No,
It's not a AAA.
No, I'm
game.
sorry. You said AAA. My apologies.
Yeah.
I just
But I'm
meant
saying
new
like
IP.
this,
New
like,
IP.
like a big budget epic, because this game looks epic. I mean, they put out the I don't know if everyone saw the YouTube cartoon shorts of Starfield, but
Yes.
that came out. That was really cool. But this is like the first big game. This is the first big AAA game. I know Redfall was a AAA game, but that game was terrible. This is like the first big thing, I think, and the first big AAA exclusive from Bethesda on the Xbox. So I think that's part of that too. I think people have a lot of eyes on it, and that's why you see a lot of chatter now.
Well,
I will caution people, if you don't like big open world games where you can kind of do whatever you want, this game may not be for you. I just throw that out there. I've kind of expressed that about what I think is this year's game of the year, Baldur's Gate 3. I said to the people, like, if you aren't into Larian Studio games, you don't like turn-based games, or you didn't grow up playing Dungeons and Dragons, that game may not be for you either. I think that game's a really deep RPG. I think it's one of those games you either love or hate it. But look, Mooch, I'm excited. I can't wait. I have my pre-order on Steam. I got the deluxe digital edition, so I can play the game 5 days early.
Yes.
And I'm looking forward to see what everyone's experience and everyone's thoughts are going to be once they sink their teeth into this game.
Well, it's great to have Luca here. Luca and Forte have said this all the time. They're like, I'll play that. I'll check that out on my PC. I want to ask your boy Roy. Roy, listen, BRAP brought up a couple points, and I'm going to go ahead and I say this all the time. I see some people in the chat. It's like their first time here. I'll say I'm going to play. Shout out to Capone. I am going to play Starfield. I mean, I have Game Pass, of course, but so this sounds ridiculous, but I have a PC. I'm going to play it on PC like BRAP. I'm going to play it on Steam. I want that 60 frames. Roy, my question to you is, if you've got a capable PC, let us know about it. Now, you don't have to get into specs. It's not that kind of show. But do you think it's going to be, is the 30 frames going to bother you personally? And how do you think it's going to affect people? Because I personally, even with Game Pass, I'm electing to play this on Steam. Now, of course, I'm a mooch, so I put in for a review code. But I mean, nonetheless, okay, let's put me out of this. Roy, where are you on this? Did the 30 frames information kind of bum you out a bit with this being that big IP, that big AAA IP that Microsoft hasn't had in a very long time? Like, where are you on this when you hear about that tech spec?
So there's two reasons it doesn't matter to me. One being that I'm not going to play Starfield. I don't own a PC. I'm not a PC gamer yet. I don't own an Xbox. They haven't proven me a reason to buy their console. So I'm not playing Starfield. And also, I'm not a Bethesda fan. However, being a fan of gaming, I'm excited to see people create content and show me cool stuff for the game. I could care regardless if it's on PlayStation or Xbox or Nintendo. I don't care. It's cool seeing people enjoy a game. I didn't play Zelda either, but it sure is funny seeing people. I don't know what the creatures are called, but everyone finds cool ways to like torture those poor little blue guys in some way. Yeah, it's like that's hilarious to me, and it's like you're gonna see a big penis ship flying around. People are gonna post some crazy ships they're making. I know probably Harry Ball, Zach is gonna make something crazy. So that's my stance on Starfield. I'm excited for the game, but I'm not gonna play it just because I love people, celebrating games. For the 30 frames per second, another reason that if I were to play the game, why it doesn't matter to me is I played the first half of Star Wars Jedi Survivor on 30 frames because of the issues, and that's my game of the generation right now. I am always going to say gameplay is king over performance. Of course, I don't want game-breaking bugs in performance where it's like, okay, I can't play this game. This is atrocious. But I think people, yes, it's disappointing when you got, the monster eating monster for breakfast and, we're going to take Ryan's mom out for dinner and then wine and diner, whatever. We want that console to push frames, but gameplay is king. And when people argue for the frames, I think it's more of a console war thing, and I think it's more for clout.
Well, I mean, now, so, Roy, I liked where you're going with some of that. The only thing I got to say is I do think that, and listen, I'm not a developer, and I didn't stay at Holiday Inn Express last night, so I don't know. But I got to tell you, I do know that we all bought these consoles for at least options. I'm not going to sit here and be one of those people that goes, it's 60 frames, 4K, or I'm out. That's ridiculous, and it's improper to say because I don't make the games. But 95% of games now seem to be giving a fidelity mode and then a performance mode, and then some of them have a fidelity mode with ray tracing and then a performance mode with ray tracing. You're seeing a little bit more of that coming from PlayStation's first party. But I'll go over to Dark. Dark, first of all, I don't know, and shame on me. You always surprise me with what you're going to play and what you're not going to play. So Starfield going gold. Where are you on the hype train? Are you already ready, preloaded and ready to go for this game, or this is a pass?
Well, hopefully everyone can hear me now because I saw some people in the chat that said that they couldn't hear me. I was too low or something. But
Oh, you
hopefully
sound
they
good,
can
buddy.
hear
You
me
sound
now.
good.
Yeah, I'm, at first I wasn't excited for it. And then I started seeing more and more of the game, and I was just like, okay, yeah, I definitely would like to play that. You know, I played No Man's Sky when it came out, and I actually liked the game. I
Yeah.
I wasn't like, oh my gosh, this is amazing, right? But I was like, this is actually a pretty good game. And yes, it was at the time bare bones. Did it get better over time? Absolutely. Um, but I feel like this game is going to come out how Skyrim, I mean not Skyrim, but how No Man's Sky wanted to come out. I think this is going to be full of with a story. It's going to be full with skill tree. Going to have so many things that No Man's Sky didn't have until later on. So I think, given that, it will have, it's definitely going to always have those comparisons and stuff. But I think the game is definitely in a good position to, you know, be considered part of the gaming pantheon, game of the year, whatever. It's definitely well on its way. Of course, you can't really say that it will be that until it actually comes plays it and stuff. No, hold on. What was the question?
No,
Mooch?
I mean basically, are you going to play this game? I mean, you said what I just heard from you
Yeah.
is FOMO is kicking in. That's what I'm hearing.
Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely, definitely. Gonna play it. I have an Xbox. I have I'm also in the but games. For the most part. I mean, I do like Wolfenstein and Doom and Dishonored, those games, but like their RPGs, Fallout. I did like Skyrim, but I wasn't really like. But from what I've seen of this game, it looks really good. I'm definitely gets me hyped for it.
Yeah, a lot of people are still saying they can't hear you, Dark. I don't know why, guys.
Yeah.
Let me ask a question here, guys. Can you hear the rest of us? Is it only Dark? Because Dark sounds clear on my end. So I don't.
Yeah, I hear him without no issue.
Yeah, I don't
Clear
have.
to me.
It's clear
I can
over
hear you
here.
too.
I
even turned it up too.
I just put you up to 153% user volume on Discord. So guys, I apologize. It says his noise gate or something is making his voice cut out. Well, I don't know.
That's weird.
You must have an option on there,
Maybe-
Dark, that I can hear all of y'all
Well, I
perfectly, says Christopher Wright. Okay.
I closed the Xbox app on my my PC, so hopefully that.
Oh,
might be
Xbox
the
did it to you
issue
again.
there.
Well, let me do this. I'll go
I
over
know.
while you go ahead and tinker with that for a second. The great Sir X-Man, who's been a Mooch Maniac family member for the longest time. Shout out to Sir X-Man, just an outstanding individual. Sir X-Man, we got to get you back on the show. He says, give it to Luca. That's a great, it's an outstanding
Give it
line.
to Luca.
Give it to Luca. Luca, so you know what? I'm going to ask you the question. Luca, where are you playing Starfield? Your PC, which is more than capable, or on your Xbox?
PC.
Oh, God.
Like what? First of all, I would have played it on Xbox if they said it was going to be 60, but
Yeah.
it's not. So, like, don't get me wrong. If I don't have a choice, I will play a game regardless. Like, I played Fire Emblem Three Houses multiple times on the Switch, and I absolutely loved it. I played Persona 5 at 30 FPS. Absolutely loved it. So it's just kind of like, if I don't have a choice, the game comes first. If it's something I'm really passionate about. But if I have a choice, I'm playing it on PC where the modders are at.
Yep.
So that can be fun. And also where I'm going to get my 60 FPS. Like, I'm sorry. I know you said that, like, oh, we can't really expect all the games to be 60 because, I'm not a developer and I'm not making these games. But I'm over here like, well, I expect these games to be 60 because they said that these games were going to be on the most powerful system.
Right.
So it's just like, for me, games should be 60. Now, I understand there's this creative vision, whatever. I get it. But creative vision, not really a problem for me because I'm going to be on PC. So.
Yeah, same thing here, Luca. And I kind of feel, man, I want to play on the Xbox Series. Go ahead, Persona. Interrupt, please.
I'm sorry, Moose. Don't beat me up. I didn't mean to interrupt you. This
No,
your
do
show,
your
man. I'm
thing.
sorry, I'm
No,
sorry.
Persona, this is Crossfire. This is not about my show. This is as much your show right now. You're on the panel. Go ahead.
Yo, man, listen. Yo, we gotta stop this, man. Like, we gotta stop this. Like, Luca's right. Mooch, what you was about to say is right. We gotta stop this. Like, yo, if that was the case, everybody should have stayed on last gen. Why you get on next gen consoles?
Right.
Why you buying 4K OLED 102 HDMI 2.1 TVs? At the start of this generation, you saw all types of people. I gotta get the new OLED, the new LG, the new Sony. Oh, HDMI 2.1. Oh, ray tracing, all this other stuff.
Yep.
No one is buying into these consoles, or at least me. I'll speak for myself. I can't speak for everybody. I'm not buying into a next gen platform expecting to only get what I was getting last generation. I expect there to be improvements, and one of those improvements that I do expect is for 60 frames per second to be more of a standard when it comes to games. And realistically, it does look funny, especially with a lot of the marketing that Microsoft did at the start of this generation for some of your biggest titles to still fall short in a department where you said this wouldn't be an issue, right? I don't want to hear that artistic vision bullshit, because that's bullshit. Because if that was the case, lock it to 30 frames on PC.
Right.
You wouldn't
Facts.
dare do that. You wouldn't dare. So I don't want to hear that artistic vision bullshit. Just say, like, let's all call a spade a spade.
That's right.
Either it can't hit that 60 on the consoles because of a certain console, he who shall not be named, Xbox Series S, or you just didn't want to. Like, what is it? We all know what it is. I mean, let's be honest here. So it sucks, and it sucks, man. Like, it really does suck because this is next gen, and it should be more of a standard.
Yeah, I think
That's with first party.
I think Todd said that they were able to get it like how it looked. Good. So
Yeah, it probably wasn't stable. That's probably what it
that
was.
too. Yeah.
And it sucks that one of their flagship games is going to suffer, not because the game is going to be bad. Who knows? It hasn't come out yet. But it's going to suffer because of their hardware. And that's a huge issue. And that's a big reason why Xbox is sucking right now.
It's funny though, Persona, I'm kind of glad you kind of opened that can right there, because in all honesty, it does come down to something that we said on this channel years ago. I really thought that the Xbox Series, I know what they're doing. I get the marketing strategy. We all see the notes. We see everybody putting it out. There's hundreds of articles out there. So we understand what Xbox is doing. But Luca, I'll ask you, do you think they made a mistake by doing the Xbox Series S? This has legitimately been a thorn in their side. This isn't, now here we go again, ready? It's not console wars, but it's console wars. But at the same time, Microsoft did this to themselves. They've got third-party developers, Baldur's Gate, you've got Remedy, you've got others that have come out and said, this thing is giving us complications. So it's leading to certain instances where Xbox doesn't get in certain games till much later on, or not at all. And here you have Todd saying what he said, which was a delicate way to say, we can't get this thing running on a Series S. We just can't get that thing running at 60 frames on a Series S. So what they did was they said, we're going to have parity. We're going to make both these things work equally. So again, if you're an X user, you do feel a little slighted.
Listen, I definitely have that feeling of like, what was the point of us upgrading?
Right.
Like I bought a series, I bought an Xbox One S and One X and
Yep.
then X. And don't get me wrong, I don't regret my purchase. I don't regret anything I buy really. I bought it for one specific reason, and I got more than what I wanted from it, and that was to play Destiny 2 at 60 FPS with my friends, and I had a great time with it. So I don't regret my purchase at all. But I do think it sucks that some games are coming out and they're struggling to hit 60. And as for the Series S, I have a Series S as well. It's at my mom's house. And I was on there when I was at her place for vacation. And let me tell you, the visual dip is actually noticeable. It was really interesting. I didn't think I would notice it as much as I did when I was playing Destiny at my house versus playing Destiny at her house. You know what I'm saying? So,
Right.
as for whether or not it was a mistake, I don't know. I have to wonder for them if they think it was a mistake, if they feel like it was a mistake, if how many they've sold, if Series S doesn't hit those metrics for them. I wonder if they think it's a mistake for them. But for me, it is what it is. Like, it gives me another way to play my games without having to lug my Series X. Because let me tell you,
Yeah.
I took that Series X through California security, and they were just like, "What is that?" And this was when this is when the console's released.
What is that?
It's when the console's released. So consoles are not normally shaped like that. So like this freaking airport security was like, "Miss, what is this?" And he had to get one of his coworkers to come over and be like, "No, that's one of the new consoles."
Why do you have
Yeah, people
This
going
is-
for a random security check.
why do you have a cinder block with circuit cards in it, miss? We're wondering. So
You may have a bomb.
it's funny because I do want to bring this up because a lot of people say this, but I do think ultimately, Capone, I'm going to sleep on this comment. I'm going to mention it out loud because I want to hear what the panel has to say about it. But I do want to actually come back and answer that question in a future Crossfire, because I actually want to. He says, Mooch, and BRAP, I'll give you the mic. Yeah. He says, Mooch keeps forgetting Microsoft doesn't care where you play. Just sign up for Game Pass. But, ultimately, Capone, when you walk into, you guys know this because I don't eat before Crossfire. I'm always starving. You walk into a restaurant, you open up that menu. If everything in the place is just not working out right, it gives the whole atmosphere a bad vibe, right? So if it's the service that sucks, and then you're like, well, the food's good, but your friends will say, I don't want to go back because the service sucked, So like the problem here is that you've got people buying hardware that they were promised was going to be next gen, and it's really not. So it's not just as easy as, well, geez, I feel a little slighted. You know what I'll do? I'll give Microsoft $20 a month. I don't have a problem with that. It doesn't really work that way, Capone. So it does kind of impact the whole brand. But ultimately, BRAP, what do you think when you hear people say that? Speak your mind as well, but they just care if you sign up for Game Pass. But do you want to, as a consumer, just sign up for Game Pass when you have so many other concerns with the hardware you purchased?
I mean, I think there's some people that don't care about the hardware and they just want access to, games at a low entry point, and that's fine. That's a certain consumer that's not me. I'm not part of that consumer group,
right,
or addressable market. But I think when they say, oh, they just want you to sign up, it doesn't matter where you play. To me, that sounds like a buffet. Oh, we don't care what you eat because we have all this. We have pizza. It sounds like Golden Corral.
Right,
Golden
yeah.
Corral is not quality. I mean, I wouldn't. And so and I was one that I never really wanted to go down that rabbit hole of the impact of quality Game Pass. Now I'm starting to think that that's probably a thing now. And I say that because of what happened with Halo Infinite. We see what's happening with Forza Motorsport missing
key features.
Have certain key features. I mean, these are features that have been part of previous legacy features that aren't going to be there day to day. But I never really give too much. I never really thought about the Series S as kind of holding things back for Microsoft in the beginning of the generation. But now I'm like, well, you know what? That kind of seems to be the case. I mean, I think it's very unfortunate that the Xbox platform owners can't experience one of the best games of 2023, one of the best RPGs I played in 10 years, and Baldur's Gate 3, because of issues with the Series S and because of the parity clause that Microsoft has. Microsoft has that parity clause where developers have to, if they're going to do it for the Series X, they got to do it for the Series S.
Yeah.
And that's unfortunate. The late great Optimus Co. kind of, I never forget when he said this. He's like, you can scale, resolution in frames, but you can't scale design.
That's right.
And that's what we're seeing now. I mean, he told people and got a lot of pushback for saying that, but it's true. Like, and what's odd, I remember people saying, well, the developers did develop for PC. A PC is the lowest common denominator, and blah 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 blah. I'm like, yeah, but we're not seeing these kinds of things on PC. And if a game if the design of a specific PC game can't meet, can't be done on lower spec cards, they just raise the requirements. But you can't do that on the Xbox,
right?
Because it's a closed ecosystem. You can't do that. It's not an open platform the way PC is. So, it's unfortunate that we're starting to see these. I always wonder, are we ever going to see a game that is considered like a once in a lifetime? I don't say once in a lifetime experience, man. Maybe it's not the right word to describe Baldur's Gate 3, but it's almost like in the zeitgeist of I almost said Elder Scrolls, of Elden Ring, the way Elden Ring was when that released. And it's a shame that players can't experience that. And and I think with the Series X, it's like when you bought it because it was the most powerful console in the world, and you had an expectation, and not just based off what Microsoft was saying in terms of their marketing, but let's face it, every time we bought a new console generation, if you've been gaming for a long time, that's your expectation anyway. New hardware, better visuals, better games, more power. Because that's what we've always, the 40 years I've been playing video games, that's always been the case. Remember Mooch 8? Remember 8, the 8-bit era,
8-bit to 16-bit,
32.
32.
There was always,
right.
there was always.
It's why you invest, and I gotta piggyback on what Lucas said, because you guys know I've got a Series X, I have a Series S, and I bought the S more for the media stuff, just to have in the family room. I don't game on it, I really don't. But I have struck up, like, just for example, Diablo 4. And Luca's right. Like, I put on Diablo 4 on the Series S, and it's noticeable. And people are like, well, I don't mind. If you don't mind, but I grew up in an era, like BRAP said, I remember coming home with that SNES and that leap, that unbelievable graphic leap. And I know now it's comical to say something like that, but to go from the original NES to the SNES was just, I mean, I spent, I don't know, it feels like I didn't even go to sleep. It was 24 to 48 hours where if it wasn't my folks telling me, you got to shut that off right now, I just didn't. And that was because of that look, the feel, the games played better, they look better. And that's why we make that leap. And I have no problem. I never have a problem buying a new PlayStation or a new Xbox. But I really do feel here it is. We're at the, we're approaching the midpoint of 23. And let's be honest, people are calling Skyrim, rightfully so, by the way, Xbox's biggest new game since people are almost saying as far back as Gears of War on the 360. So if you guys want to take it that far, I'll ride with you.
Yeah,
That's what I've been saying too.
Right?
Which I said this is from a hype perspective.
This is a big IP.
Big deal, yeah.
Yeah,
it's
it
a
is.
big IP.
But here it is. It's
it's
limited.
yeah.
It's limited at 30 frames, and that's and a lot of I see some people in chat go, Mooch, I don't care. Listen, but I'm not here to take your enjoyment away. But it does matter.
And there's that thing, right? Is that people don't care, right? So it makes those developers probably see that or whatever, and they say, okay, well then we'll just do whatever,
do it.
And that's the thing with the Series S is that majority of people who bought it, were like, oh, this is how much the console is. They bought it because it's cheap, right? Like it's a cheap way to play games on Xbox, and it clearly, I mean, if Xbox really felt like it was damaging their brand or whatever, I'm sure they would probably get rid of it. I would think by now they would have gotten rid of it if it was hurting their brand. So I don't think it's hurting their brand, but I also think that it's not capable of doing the things that I think they really would like to do with like some of the games that they have out there. That's kind of that's kind of an issue, right? Like, because I mean, if you look at the PS5, you look at what PS5 can do, which it's, yes, granted, it has the 30 frames per second mode, but it also has a performance mode, right? Like for most games that come out on the PlayStation 5, it has like what 2 or 3 tiers of modes of what you can play on.
Mhm.
And then you go to Xbox, and most of the time it's not that case, right? It's either at least as of late, it's either you can only play at 30, or unless it's like a third party game, and which is so weird because it's like it's their first party games that are having the struggle with it, but the third
Yeah.
party games don't seem to have the same struggle. I don't understand. I don't know where the mix up is, the two things there, or the two SKUs, right? Like I think in me personally, I think they should have never even done the S. I think they should have done a digital version of the Series X, but
Mm.
people would argue with me that for most gamers or whatever, but it's just crazy that you can clearly see that there are issues with the series.
Yeah. And I
You know what kind of bothers me, by the way? I'm
do you
seeing this
got?
in live chat when people kind of hand wave. Oh, well, the casuals don't care. Well, I'm not a casual gamer. I care.
Right.
Right.
I don't want 30 FPS. I've had 30 FPS that like 3 console generations ago.
Yeah.
If you're not a casual gamer,
You
then
know
it
what?
shouldn't affect you because you're hardcore, which means you'd have multiple avenues to play games. You wouldn't just stick with something like the Series S or X. And you don't because you have a PC.
You know what the casuals
Yeah, but
do
I
care about
can't.
though is if they can play a game or not. And I've already expressed that I don't care about performance, and probably most casuals
Mm.
don't. But the fact that they can't play a game, that's an issue. They can't play Baldur's Gate 3 literally because of the hardware. That is a huge issue. We're not talking about performance. We're talking about literal gameplay. The reason that you buy a system is to play games. And if you're keeping people from playing a game, that is a huge issue.
That's an interesting point too.
I hear
do,
you,
yeah.
but I don't necessarily agree. Specifically, just for the example you used, because Baldur's
Mhm.
Gate is a niche franchise, and it wasn't until
Very
this
niche.
one
True, but
where
it's the
it blew
principle.
up.
It's
I
I
understand the
mean,
principle. It's just the
okay.
example. I don't agree with the example you used.
Okay, but take the principle. What if another game that's more casual can't run on the Xbox because of its hardware issues?
Yes, in that hypothetical, I would agree with you. But if you, I mean, do you have any examples of a?
No, I
Oh,
don't.
okay, yeah. So if in that hypothetical, I would agree with you. It would be an issue for a game
Mhm.
that's for casuals. But I can't think of any game right now that casuals play where they can't play it because it can't run on
Well,
the S.
you know, it's funny because it's interesting. And look, I do like your
And
rebuttal there, but you know, when it comes down to it, though,
if we're really speaking of casuals, I mean, like, casuals aren't buying consoles. If you look at the numbers where the casual market really is, it's not on console.
Mobile, baby.
Yeah, it's not.
It's on mobile.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
definitely
mean,
mobile.
that's casual. Like, that is, you know, and you got to remember something.
But even see this casual argument is it always gets money because people try to prop it up to be this, oh well, casual are just these stupid gamers that don't know anything, so they're just going to buy the lowest common denominator. That's not true,
That's
because
actually not true.
if that was the case, Xbox's sales wouldn't be 13% down last quarter.
I was just gonna go.
You get what
there.
I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
we can't keep using this, oh well, casual's going to buy whatever and just accept any old thing, because if that was the case, again, Microsoft would have been thriving this entire time, last generation and this generation.
Yeah.
And clearly they're not. So, it's clear that casuals are going where the quality is, where the great games are, and who's catering to the experiences that they're looking for. And clearly, when you look at the numbers, the facts, data, and statistics, the facts, data, and statistics say that both Nintendo and PlayStation are where majority of not just the hardcore, but the casuals are when it comes to the console market. Because they are catering.
That's what I was gonna say.
Catering to,
Wait, I would say
they are catering to what people are looking for, and they're putting out great games.
yeah, and
That's
PlayStation
simple.
definitely is. But I would say that casuals, it's not necessarily about this concept of great games. It's more so where their friends are playing. And also the mind share, because all of us heard last generation, Xbox is trash, Xbox is garbage. Oh, are they still spying on you? That kind of thing. Like, that's what came out of every casual's mouth that I spoke to. And they're like, oh, I got a PS4. That's where all my friends are. So, yeah, definitely
Well,
for the concept of great games. But a lot of people are playing Fortnite and COD and FIFA.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That still doesn't.
That's
That
definitely
argument, but
friends.
that argument doesn't make sense, because most games are crossplay, including Apex and Fortnite.
Okay,
So.
I already said that casuals are playing where their friends are at, and most people are like, "Oh, I had a PS4 because the PS4 is better than the Xbox. It's cheaper and it also runs games better." Like, we all know how the narrative
Oh,
was
okay, I
last
didn't hear
generation
that.
about no worries, about Xbox being trash. You know what I'm saying? Like, everyone's like, Xbox is garbage. I have a PlayStation 4. That's where the mindshare was. And also, PlayStation's marketing when it came to certain games, like Destiny, when I had no idea that Destiny
Yeah,
was on
yeah.
Xbox. You know what I'm saying? Like, I had no clue because of the way they marketed the game. So there's that level of ignorance there where some people will see marketing on PlayStation side and we're like, "Oh, okay, it's not on Xbox. I'll just get it on PlayStation."
You know, I'm gonna say
And
shout out
that's
first
the
of all.
thing
Shout
with that,
Yeah,
right?
but that's also a good. Oh, God, my fault. Go ahead.
Well, that's the thing with that is the marketing, right? There is no marketing like like you look at PlayStation, they're always marketing their stuff, right? They're always marketing their games, they're always marketing their consoles. They're always doing something to market that, right? No
Yeah,
matter
Final
what. You
Fantasy
see
was
it on
on a
Twitter.
resort in Vegas.
Right? Exactly. You see it everywhere, right? But then when you get something that comes from Xbox, they don't really market it, right? They don't.
Yo, you got
I'm
Xbox now
wondering,
telling you don't need the console to play the games.
Right.
So like
right?
that's
Yeah,
gonna
that's true.
hurt
Yeah,
the
They
sales
just
or whatever the bottom line is when it comes to that console market for Microsoft. That's
all
gonna
you
hurt
need
them
is the
even more,
Samsung
because now it's
TV.
like the Samsung TV or cloud and on the phone and all this other shit. So really and truly, I feel like this argument that continuously happens of nobody's buying an Xbox, or nobody. I mean, that ship has sailed. That argument is old, and like we all know that, like, and we know why. And again, when you look at the numbers, when you look at how Microsoft is moving, and when you look at the things that have come out with the FTC court case of, they were seriously contemplating, getting rid of the Xbox brand. They were seriously contemplating, like just going all Game Pass, everything, and that's it, and not even having a console. When you hear these different types of things coming out and things like that, it's clear what the mindset is when it comes to Microsoft and how they're viewing the gaming sector from their perspective moving forward, right? So this concept of consoles from Microsoft, I think it's a dead issue, right? Like, because it's dead. Like, it's just not. It is what it is, right? Nintendo and PlayStation are catering, and they have that market locked down. Especially Nintendo, with the Japanese market and other sectors.
Yeah.
So it's just not. It is what it is. Like, it's a losing battle trying to catch up or try to get into that. And even with this fresh slate of this generation, look how they're fumbling out the gate and how things have shifted from the start of this generation to now. So it is what it is,
Yeah, also, Persona, remember that interview that Phil Spencer had, in which he was respectfully, he came off as very defeated, and he was just like, "Yeah, we can't
It's like,
catch up."
and that's what I'm saying. But Luca, and that's what I'm saying. It's like, I'm not saying this that, like, because some people may hear this and say, oh yeah, so you just want Microsoft to fail. No, Microsoft is telling you their viewpoint from the fact and looking at the facts, data, and statistics. This is where they're at now, right? Even having, Activision and all this other stuff, yeah, that's going to definitely sweeten up their pockets and all that. But the pockets and the sweeten of the pockets is going to be coming from the PC fan base, PlayStation, Nintendo, and all these other places, not necessarily the Xbox console or platform, because that is the number 3 in everything: sales, influence, mind share, games, quality. It's just what it is.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
let me
they're
say this. I
gonna
want
be getting a big boost with the mobile game.
Yep.
Absolutely. 100%. Well, I want to piggyback off what Luca and Persona just said. And honestly, you go back to 2020, 2021 on this show. And it's funny because I heard Phil say now when Phil says it, it's fine. I said it on the show. You guys know, have been in the chat. I said that literally Xbox lost the worst generation to lose. And it was because mainly, think about it, since PlayStation 4 had such a big lead over Xbox One, this was the beginning. That was the beginning of the console digital era. Right, so you had a lot of PlayStation fans buying digital games, because what Luca was saying, their friends were on PlayStation 4. They naturally gravitated to 5. And the reason that this is a big problem with the S is that you have a situation where Microsoft gambled and said, well, if we have a $299 console and most people play Fortnite and most people play COD, right? Well, they're going to switch over. That's how we're going to get them to come from PlayStation over to us, because they can play on the S. The fidelity, it really won't look too much worse, and casuals won't know. They gambled on that. And here you look at it. Let's use the numbers that we really don't know. Microsoft doesn't say anything. PlayStation's at about 41 million, and the guesstimates out there are 21 or 22 million for Xbox Series consoles. Of those, let's say 22 million, we'll always round up in Xbox's case, we'll say 22. 15 to 16 million of those are probably S's. So their strategy really... It really didn't work, because, like, even with that out there, they're not beating a console that is basically $500. It was very hard to find the $400 digital version of PS5. So it was really a $299 console against a $500 physical edition PS5, and they struggled then to even beat them. And it goes to, that's where Persona's point kind of stands out. The games, the quality, the reputation. So you take Luca's point with the digital era, and the friends were already on PS4. Then you put that marketing and you put the games and the quality. That's where we are right now. I say this all the time. I wish people would actually say, Mooch, I kind of see your point. This is Monday Morning Quarterback, so I'm not saying I'm right now. I said I was right back then. When Microsoft decided to do day and date with PC, I like their PC strategy, but they could have waited 6 months. Hear me out. If they said Halo Infinite launches on Xbox Series X and Xbox Series S this, December 2021, and then June 2022, it's on PC. PC gamers weren't getting that game ever before anyway. They would have been dancing in the streets, and they would have had a reason for people to want to go buy an Xbox. We live in the era of, what have you done for me lately? What's going on right now? Nobody, no one in the gaming streets wants to wait 6 months to play a game. Nobody. So when you see a game you want, you would buy it.
I would disagree with that, though.
Well, it's not foolproof. I'm saying it's concept.
Because, only because of the fact that I know there's a lot of PC gamers out there that will wait for a game.
PC, yes. Console,
then,
no.
Then wait for a console. But console gamers, yeah, I will say that console gamers will. They're not gonna wait. They're like,
no, we want to play the game. I mean, you know, it's if FOMO kicks in. It's especially if you're on gaming Twitter or any gaming social media site. You know, I mean, listen. So by the way, let's just getting back to Starfield for a second, and I want to get to my points on Starfield because I am excited to try it out. But TrueWiddy's here. He says Todd Howard. And now, guys, keep in mind, shout out to TrueWiddy. I appreciate him being a part of the channel. Part of the family, but he is from different countries, so sometimes the English, it doesn't. I'm trying to put it together here. He says, Todd Howard called it Skyrim in space for the reasons that, and I'm not sure, you guys maybe they'll help me here. Kevil Simular, you use pistols a lot. It levels you up to use your that you character up. So, TrueWiddy, I'm trying to put that together. I know there's a language gap there, but I do appreciate the super chat. And, you know, BRAP, I don't know if you were going to chime in on that, or pardon me, Dark.
I was trying to find it actually.
Actually, you don't believe it or not, I've never even used this option. I think I can actually put it. I hit this button. I don't know. It's supposed to put it back on the screen. I guess it doesn't. Go ahead. The Great Gaming Forte has joined us as well. But Roy, did you have something to say?
Yeah, before you get into it, and the Great Forte, you know, shares his thoughts.
That's right. It is the Great Forte. Yes.
I want to piggyback off the whole it's Skyrim or in space or it's No Man's Sky copycat. I don't hear people saying Lies of P is a Dark Souls copycat or any type of Dark Souls-esque game.
They're saying it, Roy.
I mean, they might be saying it's a Starfield in space or whatever, all that. Or not Starfield in space, Skyrim in space. But it's like, I think people are trying to do that just to downgrade the game because they're trying to hate on Xbox. Mm-hmm. But no other game that copies another game for what it does good.
Yeah.
Usually don't get negativity off.
Well, you know why, Roy? I think the only reason you're hearing it in this case is the scales are reversed. So you have Bethesda, which is a massive, developing team, and ZeniMax with a huge publisher behind them. You've got that big boy money. Then you have Microsoft's big boy money in there, and they're saying that No Man's Sky was a team of how many people were in that picture when they were holding it up? Maybe 50 or 60, 70 people. And when you're making the other correlation, you're saying, well, Lies of P is copying. Yeah, Lies of P is copying a big, conglomerate in From as compared to them. I'm sure the Lies of P studio, without looking at the numbers, I'm sure that studio is less than the amount of developers and talent and other types of artists, directors, and producers that they have it From. So this is reversed. This is saying, well, wait a minute, why is the big company using a lot of the fundamentals and a lot of the different capabilities that we're seeing in what we did see in No Man's Sky? And Roy, I'm not saying you're wrong, but I think that's why the perception comes out that way. Does that make any sense, or did?
Yeah, no, it does. But I want to say that when the little
guy's copying the big guy, you get it. When the big guy's copying the little guy, you question it a little bit more. That's all.
Or maybe they're just like, hey, these little guys got a great idea.
It is a great idea.
Money and improve it,
Right.
Right. Yeah.
Forte, what do you think, buddy? You're in here, and it's good that I knew you were going to come in here. There was no way you could avoid today with Luca here, or you would have heard it from her after the show. So, Forte.
What up, though?
What's up, buddy? Let's talk about it. Starfield went gold. Where are you on this, buddy? Are you playing it on your PC, your Xbox, or it's not even on your wheelhouse?
They actually on what is that? The first, I'll be in there on the first. So
on your PC or on Xbox?
Well, no, they decided to say it's only running at 30 frames per second on Xbox. So I'll be a fool to play it on Xbox. Play it on PC, man. Sorry.
It's crazy though, because honestly, coming from you guys know, I loving the Xbox those years back before. It's now everyone's just like, oh, I'll just play it on. And I know everyone goes, Microsoft doesn't care. I'm aware Microsoft doesn't care. But I mean, I care. I got 2 Xboxes in the house.
Listen, you got an S and an X, right?
Yeah.
What did you buy that X for?
I bought the X to play games like, I'm not gonna say Skyrim. Everyone will be like, oh, pardon me, not Skyrim, Starfield. But like, I bought it for games of the magnitude of Starfield, And now I'm going to play it on PC. And, you know, BRAP's the one that gave, and rightfully so, BRAP always gave me shit. He's like, you know, back in the day when I bought it, when it was actually a relevant card, you guys know I always say I have a 2080 Ti. That's dated nowadays. But I got news for you. My 2080 Ti to 8700K, which is also very comical. But I'll be able to play Starfield at 60 frames. And that's where I'm going to play it too.
Ain't nothing wrong with that. And guess what? And like you said, unfortunately, well, not unfortunately, because that's what Microsoft wants. But as much as I want to play on my X, and I would love to play it on my X, and I will boot it up on my X, and I will probably look at the title screen and be like, oh, this looks really nice on my 4K TV. And then next thing you know, I'm going to turn it off, and I'm going to walk over to my 1440p, 144-inch, 44 hertz refresh rate monitor, ultra wide, max settings, and I'm going to play it over there. Because guess what? I can control what I want and how I want my game to look over there. The thing is, I don't think most people understand. Most people don't really care about they care about the look of their game, but the performance of your game matters.
Yeah.
And the fact that they're not giving us that with the console, when that was supposed to be the #1 selling point for these consoles, like, yeah, I'm good, man. So as long as I'm just happy they gave me options. Like, remember we always said, just give me options, and they're giving you an option. It just happens to not be on the console. But the fact that you can still play the game if you buy it on Xbox, if you buy it on PC, they're not really missing out on anything. But I'll play it on there just to see what it's like. But for the most part, playing it on PC, and that seems to be kind of the running, the running thought for a lot of people when these games are kind of being announced and how they're going to play them. But it going gold, not a big deal because, games go gold all the time. I do think it's actually a big deal that they released the codes like 2 weeks before the early release date of September 1st. I hear a lot of people saying that the date goes all the way up to the day before the early release.
The review, the review embargo is hours before the September 1st release.
Yeah, and the only reason that doesn't bother me as much is because most people that buy these high-end collector's editions or buy those early accesses to the game, those are people that was going to buy it for the most part anyway. They just want to get in and try it before other people, and they just want to try it day one and get ahead of it for the weekend.
Yeah.
Compared to if this was something that was happening, like the reviews didn't come out until the 5th, I'd have been like, yo, what's the problem? This is the full release of the game. Everybody is going out to buy this game. Everybody's going to get a chance to see it at the same exact time. So I get why the reviews are probably like, the way that they are. They want to have it go all the way up there. But I think the fact that they let people actually get review copies of this 2 weeks ahead of time, bodes well for the fact that they probably believe it.
Forte, I really appreciate you bringing that up. But, BRAP, I'll ask you the question because you want to take the mic here for a second. Then we're going to switch over to another subject in a second here. But, they did avoid. So when Forte says they got the codes out, and I'm seeing you guys are all on social media, I'm seeing where the codes have gone so far, and they've, from the people I've seen, and I know Persona's going to laugh under the microphone on this one, the people that I've seen gotten codes are very, very high on Microsoft. Right now, you might go, what do you mean? Well, like SkillUp, who has a very large channel, I didn't go look at it before the show, but someone had told me it was around 950,000 subscribers. You guys know, everyone knows SkillUp and game reviews. SkillUp did not get a Starfield review copy, and he tweeted it out.
The one person I'm curious if they got a review copy is somebody that I've been following for a long time, Frextra Life. I'm curious to see if he got a review copy. He's really like middle of the road. Like he's not too PlayStation or Xbox leaning. He plays on PC actually, but he does play on consoles as well. And so I'm curious if he got a copy and see what his.
You're gonna have to send me the link to his channel.
Well. You gotta Frextra Life. He's a big YouTuber, big Twitch streamer.
He does a lot of build.
Yeah, build videos. He does like the Elden Ring builds, Baldur's Gate. He's the shit.
Okay, so he's I mean, I thought, and it's funny because some people were saying Skill Up. I think that's odd, isn't it? That's
no, he did. What was
He
it like?
did something. He did
He did like a
something
leak or something with Bethesda,
with
and
Bethesda, and they put him on.
they
the
blackballed him,
okay.
Yeah. It wasn't because I mean and I know for a fact all the big media sites have. Well, I think we all probably know now. All the big media sites have not just the influencers are more Xbox friendly, but media sites have also received the review codes. But I kind of agree with Forte. I think
well, yeah, the big media sites have like IGN. We know that I'm pretty sure like I don't know about Kotaku, but I mean I know that like what is
Kotaku's got it too. Yeah,
they did. I know that they all got it. Of course they're gonna get it, but I mean when you look at a lot of the other folks that got it, they're big time. They do the Xbox. They do a lot of Xbox shows. So I didn't know if everyone got. It was odd when I saw Skill Up didn't get it. I thought that was, and I understand what you're saying. So I guess he has history with
like
Bethesda.
Really serious.
Yeah,
they're serious about they blacklist people.
Yeah, they don't mess
It's
around
for
with Bethesda.
real.
Yeah, and I also think that when
They're
you're
like
talking
Nintendo.
about,
wait, Forte, I was talking, man. Hold on, man.
oh, I'm sorry, Brad. Go, you may have the floor,
Hey,
sir. I
Forte, we don't see you for
apologize.
weeks on Crossfire. You come in here and take
he's like I own this joint. He's got
I'm
keys.
joking, I'm joking.
Brap, he's got
I was here-
keys.
Actually,
I
I
know.
was here last week.
You
He
were
was here last
I
week.
know,
and
I'm joking, I'm joking.
the week before.
I missed you. I missed you on
playing,
Wednesday,
Are
though.
we
By the
playing
way,
Remnant after this?
Yeah.
Okay,
Because I
okay,
heard
I'm
you've
sorry.
been waiting for me. Luke, you've been so Luke
Yo, it's
has been
real
so
good.
Yeah, Remnant 2
patient.
is awesome,
Luke
dude.
has been so patient with me being at GameStop conference all week. She was like, "When's
Yeah.
Forte gonna be back so I can play some Remnant?"
yeah. By the way, great DPS last night. I know Slomo was trying to pry some information out of you, and I'm like, no, don't do it, Forte. Don't do
Nah,
it. We know what
nah.
happened that one time.
Yeah, I listen.
Yeah.
I listen. We will never have a Last of Us Part 2 situation
Yeah, don't do that.
where I
Don't
almost
do that.
lose my job because of it. No, it's not gonna
Yeah.
happen again. But
Yeah, but real
yeah.
quick. But I agree with what Forte said about the review codes, and I think it's really good that they. I tend to look at these things as they are confident because they also play test these things too. You got to remember that before they send codes out. So they are play testing these games, getting feedback from play testers on the game, and so they may feel comfortable about where this game is and the final product, and then getting the reviews out. And the embargo is the day before
Mhm.
Early access. And they get early access is 5 days before the game releases. So I think that typically bodes well for games.
Yeah.
I'm not going to 100% guarantee it. I don't. But I think that does tend, historically speaking, that has bode well for games when we all say it with PlayStation. When they the embargoes are up like a week before the game releases. We're like, oh yeah, it's probably going to be a good game. So I think that's the case here as well.
Oh yeah, there's a lot more stuff for Starfield to come. Like the marketing push. Remember, the conversation. Where's the marketing? Oh, that's going out the window. There's some stuff that they're about to start talking about.
Yeah, I've heard they're gonna start putting some real and this is gonna be Xbox marketing, by the way. This is all Bethesda.
Yeah, exactly. Like I done seen NBA courts and logos on floors, and they about to get real serious about Starfield.
It's
over the
almost
next
like they
couple of weeks.
react to the reaction, though, isn't it?
And
Though
I'm hearing
Isn't that-
ads on prime time too, is what I've heard.
yeah, but the thing
Yeah.
is, though, the game comes out in like 2 weeks, right? 2.5 weeks. Like
Yeah.
it's almost like they hear the complaints from the gaming community and then they react. I mean, there's been Spider-Man
That's good, though, Moose. I mean,
advertising for like 4 months and it doesn't come out till October.
But that's good though. I mean, at least they're doing it.
At least
because
they're doing it, but it's a little. I mean, listen, who knows, right? You see advertising, people can go buy the game all the way up to it'll be big and beyond Christmas anyway. But I mean, it's just something. It always seems like they're reactionary instead of actually being. You know what I mean? Like being
me tell you something.
doing it themselves
I
at
don't
the
know,
gate.
When
You
it
know
comes
what?
I mean, Mooch,
to when it comes to Bethesda, when it comes
They
to their
always do.
marketing,
Yeah.
they're always like a
Last
little bit
minute.
odd when it comes to their marketing. What I'm
I
saying.
mean-
I'm thinking about the Fallout 4 announcent and everything.
Oh,
And-
you got a
by the
better
way,
memory
same
than me
year.
there, Luca. I don't remember
I mean,
Fallout
They
4
announced
marketing.
it and it was the same year. So
Yeah, I
like-
remember Fallout. I'm sorry, go ahead, Luca.
oh no, go ahead.
I know what Forte's doing now. I don't want to interrupt you. I'm sorry.
Oh
Go ahead.
no.
Yeah, no.
Uh,
So I think they're always like a little weird when it comes to the marketing stuff. So I'm not necessarily concerned on that angle.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree with Luca. Like because Bethesda's my backyard, so not literally my backyard, but they're down the street from where I live. And I've seen them this has kind of been their cadence in general. Like you look at historically, like Luca mentioned Fallout 4. I go back to Fallout 3. I remember weeks before they were releasing Fallout 3.
Mhm.
They were dropping marketing, like literally Fallout 3 marketing, like inside the metro station, was what we call our subway system here in DC. And that was weeks. And then I started seeing stuff on buses. But again, it was only a few weeks out. It wasn't like we just mentioned Spider-Man. So
Right.
that's their cadence anyway. But I Forte's right. This isn't Microsoft marketing. This is Bethesda marketing. They're going to crank this thing up a little bit for what I've heard. I think sounds like Forte's heard the same thing too. So
Yeah, and
yeah.
also think the fact that there's nothing wrong with overreacting to what your community is saying or what people are saying because it works. I mean,
Yeah, absolutely.
it definitely works. I mean, Luca, I don't know if Luca's paid attention to it, but you know, we still love Destiny and stuff, and that community's been up in fire over the course of the last month and a half.
Yeah, it's been pretty
they,
bad.
They put out a state of the game. Like
yeah, they had
3
a
weeks
State
ago.
of the Union.
They had a State of the Game, and it turned into the State of the Union, and then the community started throwing fireballs everywhere. And guess what? Joe Blackbird pops up on a Twitter post telling people it's gonna be okay.
As he should.
And guess what? That would not have happened if the reaction to the stuff that they said was not as severe as it was. And you know what? And this is the thing, though. Some people are going to say that this is just them moving the goalposts and making promises that, you know, they may not keep up with. But I'll look at it as like, absolutely, they can do that. But now we have even more receipts on if they do screw us again, it gives us more reasons not to play their stuff. And guess what? If Microsoft or Bethesda or anybody else put things out that you are not 100% in for, and they keep, you know, going against, you know, things they promise people, you remember it. And you're held more against it. So I like that they're going out, and even if they are overreacting to it, but I think the Bethesda thing, they always do things last minute. It's always like within the last 3 to 4 weeks of a game coming out. I just think it was just like the PlayStation thing where everybody kept talking about PlayStation ain't shown us nothing in almost a year and a half. And people already know it's like, well, PlayStation always has something. Yeah, it sucks that they're not showing us nothing now, but we know they're cooking stuff. It's just the fact that we haven't seen it in almost a year. And that's what irritates people. And that's the same thing that happened with Starfield. We saw the Bethesda the Starfield Direct, and then nothing since then.
Yeah,
and and that was the thing that people were like, what the hell's going on?
Yeah, I'm not happy with PlayStation's cadence right now in terms of information, but that's another conversation. I agree with you, Forte. But I would say is like with regards to the marketing of Starfield, like I mean, outside of just like marketing on, you know, TVs, basketball or commercials and basketball courts or the side of buses, they did release the someone said Todd Howard was on stage selling bags and watches or something. But I mean, they the custom controller, which is, by the way, I have a custom controller. To me, in my opinion, it's the best Xbox custom controller. Microsoft's.
I agree.
Yeah.
It's a nice one. I think that they listen. Some of their marketing they've done has been good. I just think that some of it's reactionary, especially when you guys are like, wait till you see what they got coming next week. I'm like, next week the game comes out a week after. You know,
but again, I can't criticize them for being reactionary, Mooch, because at least they're listening then, right?
Yeah,
What's good about the controller other than its visuals?
That's it.
The visuals. That's
it's just the visuals. There's no performance.
It's better than the Elite.
What do you mean? Is it better than?
Well, no,
it's not an Elite controller.
I think he's saying the Elite.
Oh no. It's just a regular controller with the Starfield. It's got a Starfield design on it, which it does. I think it looks fine.
And the headsets look great. The consolation, like the special edition consolation bundle, was really nice with the watch and everything.
Yeah.
I was hoping they threw Todd Howard's leather jacket in there, but that
I think the Gears of War Elite controller is still the best one.
So I gotta hold on before we go down that rabbit hole. I got a couple of super chats here, and then I want to ask Persona a question. We're gonna switch subjects here. Domino Zero says 37 months. Absolutely. Domino's got a room in the house. Domino, welcome, buddy. He says also, Mooch, we are getting to Fly Eagles Fly season. Your poor Giants are in trouble. We'll see about that, buddy. We are a revamped group. Okay,
we're gonna have a running back this year.
We got Saquon's back. We're good.
Oh, Saquon's back.
Saquon's back. He's happy.
Y'all still got that quarterback issue though.
Hey, listen, you don't like look at DJ.
Come on, man.
Look at Daniel. I'm not exactly gonna go buy a Daniel Jones jersey, but I'm gonna tell you right now, I got faith in DJ.
I'm coming up to New York, man, when the guys play the Commanders.
You please do. By the way, please do. We'll get some tickets. But by the way, you guys realize you can't talk sports for too long on a gaming podcast. It doesn't work out too well. Shout out to Domino Zero though.
I'm
True.
just gonna say this to you, Mooch.
What do you got, Dark?
The Giants have nothing on my Rams. Okay.
No, and you wonder why I said
Oh,
Dark's going to
boy.
bring a little bit of a shadow to every conversation. All right, now listen, the great TrueWiddy. By the way, TrueWiddy, this is a great super chat that he just put in right here. Someone told me this. They said, I know TrueWiddy. TrueWiddy, they said you were from, like, I don't know if it was Europe or this is like a year and a half ago. TrueWiddy just says to me, Mooch, I'm an American. He goes, my phone is effed up. It's screwed up the words. TrueWiddy, stop using the voice to text. You got to type it in.
Or just stop using a phone in general. Like,
Well, I
if
can't
it's
blame the
screwed up,
guy for using a phone. I mean, I think we're all attached to our phones, literally. And
I mean, like just stop using the phone when you're trying to.
I don't put any merit at all, at all into the voice to text thing. I mean, that messes up more than half the time. So shout out to TrueWiddy. I appreciate that. Leafs in 6, thank you for hitting the subscribe button too. Please, guys, hit the like button. We got almost 500 people here. Hit that like button. God Emperor Sofa King says Chainsaw Massacre is fire. And it's on Game Pass, Big W. Yes, I played it. Actually, believe it or not, I played it on Game Pass with Julian earlier today, but I was very, very gracious by the developers to be able to get a review copy on PlayStation 5 as well, so I can go on both. Because I have people that said they were going to play it on both sides, so it'll be really, really fun. I know we have Discord now that works really, really well across both consoles, but it is the party chats work better individually, in my personal opinion. God Emperor Sofa King, thank you for that. Say again,
My
please.
only question to that, Mooch,
Yes,
is
please.
Chainsaw Massacre better than
Friday the 13th?
Friday?
100% better than Friday the 13th. Now, I will say this much:
Okay.
I'm more of a Friday the 13th. If you're gonna go movie buff, I prefer the Friday the 13th movies. But this is different, where there was 5 players, whatever it was, 4 or 5 campers before, and you had to get out of Camp Crystal Lake, and there was 1 Jason. This is different. Now there's 4 survivor, 4 victims, and then there's 3
The
main
family,
enemies,
right?
family,
Yeah.
right? And we played just as the family, so we were on the attack. I have yet to play it as the victim and run around and play the game that way. So I'm looking forward to I know Julian said that a bunch of people are going to be getting together on this Sunday. I'm hoping to stream it. So, guys, please go over and check out twitch.tv, Mooch TV, drop the O's for zeros. A little plug there real quick. But Persona, I want to ask you a quick question here. So Alan Wake 2 is another game it's on a lot of people's radar. Hey, I kind of want to know, because I love to hear your take on games. Is Alan Wake 2 on your radar, first of all? But secondly, they bumped the game to the right. I believe it went from the 17th to the 27th. And I mean, listen, let's just call it what it is. And you guys in the chat are all going to probably go, no, Mooch, it's not that. But Persona, I think they moved it because they didn't want to even have anything to do with Spider-Man 2. What do you think? Do you think they moved it just for Spider-Man 2 or just because of the clutter? And are you going to play the game at all?
Goddamn right they moved it for Spider-Man 2, as they should.
Absolutely.
As they should.
Absolutely.
What you mean? I wouldn't want my game near Spider-Man 2. Are you crazy?
No.
No, but on a serious note, I don't give a shit about Alan Wake 2. It's not a game that was on my radar. It's not a game I'm playing. I don't care to play it. I'm good. But I do think part of it was definitely, October's a pretty stacked month. You got Assassin's Creed, you got Alan Wake, you got Spider-Man 2. And we know that Spider-Man 2 is that's the juggernaut of that month. So releasing 3 days before that, I could definitely see them moving away from that.
Yeah. So I mean, do you think
so crazy?
Why is it you think now? What do people say all the time? And we were talking about it earlier when we were kind of talking about Starfield, right? We were kind of saying something along the lines of the casual gamer and more people tend to flock to these types of games. When you have Alan Wake 2 and Spider-Man 2, okay, do you think that those two clash? Is that attracting? Oh, that's Forte. Do you think that's attracting the same consumer? Forte already left to play Remnant 2. Damn it. So, no, I mean, what do you think? Persona, do you think that's the same? Is that the same consumer? Like the Alan Wake crowd and the Spider-Man crowd? Why is it these devs don't feel like they can coexist? Or it's just, money's tight and they're like, listen, I know someone's not going to spend $70 on Thursday and then spend, another $70 on Monday. You know what I mean? Is it just
not? Well, you also have to look at it like this. I do think like Alan Wake 2 and Spider-Man 2, those are clearly two very, very different games. So definitely two very different audiences. But, Mario Wonder is also releasing the 20th. Like, that's listen, two juggernauts. Like, and I'm not saying Alan Wake doesn't have its fan base. And I'm sure if it were to still release on the 17th, it would still reach some type of sales milestones or whatever, or people would buy it. But Mario Wonder and Spider-Man 2, just move the game. Like I really feel like you're not really you're hurting yourself doing that.
You know what's
'cause,
funny? Persona, you just got me a flashback. Didn't Alan Wake, the original Alan Wake, launch the same week as Red Dead Redemption, and it got absolutely shadowed. It got trounced.
Yeah, it did.
So I think
I'm not sure.
I think they got a phobia now. Shout out to God War Emperor Sofa King. That's a long name but amazing results. I love it. He says Spider-Man better watch out for that plumber Mario. Now that's something where I think. Do you think that persona? Do you think that is Nintendo releasing their juggernaut of a game conflict with Spider-Man, or no? Now we're talking two different audiences, maybe.
Two different audiences, two different consoles, both exclusive to their respective consoles. And Mario, no one's going to deny that Mario is absolutely going to be a juggernaut powerhouse and is going to sell absolutely crazy numbers.
Yes.
But when you look at the public perception of Spider-Man 2, the views, the plates and all these things selling out, just the hype around and excitement around this game, and Spider-Man also being a household name as well, one of the most recognizable superheroes in the world, next to like the likes of a Superman or a Batman. Spider-Man is absolutely going to do its numbers as well, respectfully.
No, that's a great answer. BRAP, Mr. FOMO himself. BRAP, where are you going with this, buddy? Are you doing Alan Wake 2, Spider-Man 2? Both? Or Super Mario?
Yeah, I'm going to hold off on Alan Wake 2 and Super Mario. Yeah, Spider-Man. I mean, it's just a no-brainer for me right now. I mean, I'll push the other games back to, late December, early January of next year. So,
Luca, what about you? Where are you going with the big three in October? I mean, and a lot of people are kind of giving me some crap. I don't mean to lower the expectation. I know Forza Motorsport also comes out, which I know for some folks is a big deal. You guys know, I've said it a big time. Capone said it just a moment ago in the chat. I'm not a big race car fan of any type. I will say, if the one that I truly enjoy more than I've ever enjoyed racing in my life is GT7 on the PSVR 2. I don't play GT7 just on the couch. I play that with the PSVR 2, and it is game changing. But I really don't play many sports car games. That's just not my thing. But Luca, where are you in October? You doing Spider-Man? You doing Mario? You doing Alan Wake? None or all?
Oh, I will be doing Spider-Man 2. I'm not, I'm I'm not a huge Nintendo person for their first party. And I've never played Alan Wake 1. So I don't really have any interest in that. I think
Yeah.
it was smart of them to move their date personally. Well, like Spider-Man, it's Spider-Man, dude. It's a juggernaut outside of the gaming space. Spider-Man.
Yeah. Yeah, it's probably going to absolutely dominate right through the holidays.
Hey, Mooch, think of it this way. When they showed that Spider-Man gameplay,
Yes.
my grandmother called me on the phone. Hey, baby, you see that Spider-Man 2, baby? I got to get a PlayStation 5. Listen, it's a household name.
It is.
My grandmama about to pick up this Spider-Man 2, be swinging through the city. You finna feel me? Listen, you understand?
Actually, speaking of family, my brother is primarily on Xbox. He plays his Xbox One X all the time. He's always playing like PUBG and NBA 2K with our cousin. And I walk downstairs and I'm looking around, and my nephew, who is a huge Spider-Man fan, my nephew is holding a PlayStation 4 playing Spider-Man 2018. I'm just like, what's that? What is that? And my brother's like, yeah, we're getting prepped for Spider-Man 2. We're getting prepped for Spider-Man 2. I'm just like, okay, I see you. And of course, I'm the one with the PlayStation. So PlayStation 5, that is.
Right. No, I think that when it comes down to it, Spider-Man's going to have it's odd because right now we're in this whole Baldur's Gate 3, we're in this whole Starfield thing. Once Starfield launches, you're going to get it's definitely going to get its shine, and then I think you're going to see that swing shift over to Spider-Man and all of that kind of. And like you said, Luca, you've got your cousin that literally plays Xbox nonstop. But this is a game that's a smart move to be able to say that it's just it wraps people to say, hey, I got to go get a PlayStation. I got to play this game.
Hey, real talk. Don't sleep on that AC Mirage too. Assassin's Creed is also a juggernaut releasing in October at the beginning of October. Like AC Mirage, about to do some numbers. I can't wait for that too.
So
man.
you say that,
and they moved that up. They moved that up a week too. So like, that AC Mirage is that's gonna be huge. That's gonna be huge.
Can we say that
I'm-
2023 might be the best year in gaming?
Well,
It's
so
one of the best.
It's close.
definitely one
but,
of the best.
It's
Yeah,
one
it's
of
definitely
the
one of the
best.
best. I think it's up there with like 2020. 2020 was just incredible. But yeah, 2023 is definitely up there.
I think
as
it's
well.
up there with 2007. To be honest.
Yeah, 2017. Yeah, was a strong.
no,
year.
he's saying 2007,
Yeah.
but he's going back
Oh,
to the
2007. I'm sorry. I said
that was the
2007 too.
BioShock.
2007. I'm like, what?
Both
Yeah.
of those years were great.
A lot of people give
Yeah.
2007 does deserve its flowers. If you go back and look at the list of games that came out in
Yeah,
that year,
yeah,
that
2007.
Yeah,
was
2017 was great too because you had the
Yeah.
Mario,
Yep.
Breath of the Wild, you
Oh,
had
absolutely.
Spider-Man, God of War, Horizon. No, I'm
Absolutely.
sorry. Was it? Yeah, no,
Absolutely.
Horizon. It was
Yeah.
Horizon. I think Spider-Man, or was it Horizon, God of War, Spider-Man? I forget, but
No,
Yeah.
Spider-Man was in 2018.
2018. You're right. Yeah, thank
Yep.
you. Yeah, it was Horizon.
So wait,
Breath of the
Persona,
Wild.
you threw a grenade out there in this AC Mirage. I got to ask you, I've left AC for a very, very long time. What's got
Yeah.
you
Because
coming?
it's
What's
tough.
got you coming back? I mean,
So for me personally, I've been a big Assassin's Creed fan since the very beginning. Without Altair, you understand. So
Same
I'm a big
Shout out to my
fan.
boy Altair. Shout out to
Absolutely.
Ezio.
Ezio, thank
Ezio,
Absolutely.
Assassin's Creed 2 and Brotherhood are two of my favorite Assassin's Creeds of all time.
Spitting right now.
And
Mhm.
but for me, where Assassin's Creed started to dip for me was when they started to kind of get a little too bloated with the open world. Origins,
Yes.
I
Mhm.
played
Too
Origins,
much.
I platinum
Origins is good,
Origins. I
though.
thought Origins was great,
Microtransactions.
and I thought Origins was like the right amount of open worldness, right? But with Odyssey
Yeah,
and
definitely.
Valhalla, and I'm like, yo, I just can't, man. It's just, it's so
Just kept on
daunting.
getting bigger and bigger.
Yeah, it's so daunting to play to get through it. But with Assassin's Creed Mirage, what I love about this is they're going back to their roots. And in the dev diaries, they've said this as well. They're going back to their roots of, it's going to be closer to like, the old school Assassin's Creed games. It's very inspired by that. It's a smaller game, smaller world, smaller map, much more intimate experience. So, hearing that they're going back and consolidating and things like that, it has me really excited. And everything I'm seeing of the gameplay with Basim, it looks like a great game. I can't wait to play it.
Yeah, the two games that I'm looking forward to are Assassin's Creed Mirage and Spider-Man 2. Those are the only two games I mean, yes, those other games that I'm like, I definitely would love to play Mario Wonder, but also, Alan Wake. I loved the first one, but I'm like there's just so much in that month that I'm like, I have to pick just either one or two. And I was like, since Assassin's Creed Mirage is only going to be like what, $50, might as well pick that up, and then that'll carry me all the way until.
So wait a
Spider-Man
minute.
2,
So these are things that are like little red flags that go up. You just said a $50 price tag on that. What this is still a current. It's a
Assassin's Creed Mirage. Yeah.
It's a current gen game,
No.
or is it going to be also playable on PS4 and Xbox One?
No. This is next gen only
No, it's current.
Okay,
Yeah, it's
all
next
right.
gen only.
Why
yeah.
is it
It's just
why is it
it's just
$50?
because it's smaller.
Because it's smaller, right? Exactly. It's
I heard it's
smaller,
still
so
over
they
20
decided
hours
to
though.
go-
Persona.
Well, it's
Have you
smaller and
seen
like
that?
That's not small.
In scope. In scope.
Okay, all right.
Like,
When you compare something to like Valhalla, I mean, yo, what?
Yeah, Valhalla
yeah,
was.
yeah.
yeah,
100
Valhalla.
hours.
Mooch, have you seen how
Yeah.
Mirage looks?
I only the little clip that I
Yeah.
saw that was like a minute and a half. Luke, I really because I've left AC for so long. I just never. I figured this. I'm just gonna chalk it up to like pass again.
Yeah, Boo, go
Yeah, you
ahead
need
and
it.
check out a trailer for it, and I think you'll understand why it's only.
Okay. Okay. So Luca just answered it without me
But-
even going to look at it. But yeah, no, I hear.
I
you.
mean, that's not even a bad thing.
No,
That's
it's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing.
It's not a bad thing.
It's
but
just it's a smaller scope game.
smaller-
Listen,
She's right.
listen,
yeah, it's definitely
Valhalla,
smaller scope.
dude, Valhalla was a homework assignment. Like I
was
didn't
too
find
long.
that to be like
I couldn't even finish it,
I
man.
couldn't
I was
finish
like,
it.
yeah,
come
I
on,
can't.
man. Honestly, it
I was
was.
gonna go
Because you
for the
gotta-
platinum. I've went back to Odyssey and Valhalla multiple times. Like, all right, I'm gonna platinum these games. I'm gonna sit down and get through
No
them.
way.
I was just like, I can't, man.
No.
I can't get through this shit, man.
No.
I just can't.
Ubisoft is not the Ubisoft of old either, so I am skeptical.
You know, we're forgetting
I'm-
something else
yeah.
too. Go ahead, Brett.
Yeah, so like I just heard Persona say like Valhalla's like a homework assignment.
That was me.
Everyone's talking about like that was you. Okay, so that's why back to my earlier comment about Baldur's Gate 3. I'm not so sure if this is. Look, it's a 97
Listen,
Metacritic, but I
look,
don't think it's for everyone.
That's why I sat here. You know, look, we only have so much time in the hour, so much sand in the hourglass, right? Let's be honest. So,
Yeah.
like, I decided I'm still probably gonna pick it up down the road, but there's no way. Listen, there's no way right now I can. I'm finishing playing Final Fantasy 16. I've been playing a lot more of the.
Great game.
It is a great game. I'm loving it.
Phenomenal game. Final Fantasy 16 takes precedence.
That's my number one go-to. Then I'm doing a little bit of PSVR on the side. Then I do listen, anytime anybody, and listen, I get pinged all the time. Shout out to Julian Johnson. Anybody ever hits me up, and he even said Texas Chainsaw Massacre because it came out today. But you can see it from the gameplay. Anytime anybody pings me to play Warzone or they want to play Apex, like, I hate to say it, but it drives me. I like that competition. So I drop what I'm doing and I play it. So realistically, how am I going to play Starfield and play BG3? No way I'm going to be able to play Baldur's Gate 3. It's impossible.
The thing about Baldur's Gate 3, man, like, listen, like, like, for a lot of, because, I think a lot of people get, and I'm talking like more so Twitter, with the back and forth and things like that. I think a lot of people get hung up over, these Metacritic scores and things like that, where, the score is saying 97, and, Baldur's Gate, I know that's a legendary franchise, Dungeons and Dragons and all that stuff. If you wasn't playing that shit back in the day, and I'm not saying someone someone can't get into like a new genre of game.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that, but what I'm trying to say is, you got a lot of people looking at that meta and saying, yeah, this is day one. Like, oh yeah, I'm picking this up and it's on PS5, blah, blah, blah. I don't see a lot of people in this community finishing that game. Like, especially on with this PlayStation folks. I don't see a lot of them finishing that game, man, because it's like, yo, Dungeons, you won't even play turn-based RPGs in general.
I don't disagree with you, and it, not just turn-based. It's so in depth with the different spells, combat character classes, subclasses.
It's incredible.
Then there's the dice rolls, like it's
they're gonna see that first dice roll and be like, what the hell is this?
They're gonna be like, I'm out.
What?
I'll tell you, it's funny. There's certain games that you definitely don't want to pick up and play on a mobile device. But I've had a lot of people, and I got Persona here tonight. I'm interested to hear. I don't know if that's a topic, but I just want to hear yes or. And guys, go right through the panel. Let me know. Like, the more and more I play, and I have my Steam Deck. I have the Steam Deck, and I have the Asus. I heard it's called like Raj Alley. I've been calling it ROG. My apologies if I've been saying it wrong. But I was gonna make a decision. I'm actually gonna sell my Ally and keep the Steam Deck just for, and that's a different show. We'll get into that on a different topic. But in all honesty, I've enjoyed playing a little bit more like on a handheld device. I can't believe I'm saying this, but I've been saying it more and more each week. That Q Lite, if it's right and the price is right, like I'm kind of buying in on it right now because
you and Barry saying that stupid shit, man.
Listen, man, I don't know. I'm not saying. Listen, I might not. But
I want to hear why Persona said that stupid shit.
Well, here's the thing though, Persona. Hear me out. You have a game like I'm trying to think of a game. You're trying to just get some trophies. You're just hanging out. You're jamming on the couch. You're watching a show. You can just kind of like level up a little bit.
About Cyberpunk DLC too.
Well, that was the other thing I was gonna say. Cyberpunk, but that's nothing to do with the Q Lite thing. But I'm just saying, like, the Cyberpunk thing's gonna probably take up a good chunk of my time. I've not played that game yet, except for the first hour or two when it first came out, and it didn't do well. See Robert Smith going, Mooch, don't do it. I might not, but it is intriguing. I sit here and I say I'm enjoying my Steam Deck, and how can you say that I wouldn't want to like grab some like trophies or something I have to just kind of grind on, and I'll be able to do something else while I have that portable device? I don't know. I got to see what they actually hand out. Persona, I can't believe you said no that quick. I can't believe it.
I'm not listen, because Barry, I think it was like 2 podcasts ago on Wups, he was saying, he might pick it up for research purposes. I'm not doing it, man. Like, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing that, man. Like, they could keep that, because again, people have been begging for like a Vita successor, and this is what you give me? Nah, I'm good. You're not gonna get not my money on that. Nah. They dropped the ball. In my opinion, they dropped the ball on that. They could have went all in, made something that was native where you could download onto it or whatever, and start, slowly get back into that handheld market, especially since they're buying mobile developers and things like that. That's your opportunity to also, put some of that talent towards a new handheld successor. I just don't like how they went about it with this Q Lite all cloud streaming device for PS5 games. I'm good. You can keep that.
Yep. No, I honestly, so Luca, what's your thought on that handheld real quick before we move on to the next topic?
Oh, I'm not interested in that.
Do you do the Steam Deck thing too, Luca, or you're not into that?
No, I am interested in deck, but I can't convince myself to buy it. Realistically, right
Yeah.
now, when it's like when it comes to gaming right now, I'm just not really in the mood. Remnant is like the most I've gamed. I was playing Final Fantasy 16.
You're one of the
Before
reasons I
that,
picked up Remnant, to be honest with you. It was you and
oh,
Erica.
okay,
It
yes.
was.
And where is Erica?
Listen, so just, and if Erica's listening, she'll back me up here. I've asked Erica's had some things going on, so she's like, Mooch, I will be on in a couple of weeks, but I asked her to be on tonight with you, and I asked her to come on, I think last week too, and she's like, oh, try next week. So now we're into September. So we'll see, but Erica hopefully will be on the show again. We'll see.
Yeah. I mean, where is she in this game? But I definitely think Remnant is excellent. I've been having a lot of fun with Nautical and Soma. We take turns in each other's worlds, and such. So I think it's a great game, and I definitely think that it's possible that you'll enjoy it.
I'm probably about, I don't know, 4 or 5 hours in, and actually shout out to Chris Righteous. Chris Righteous just picked it up today. So I wrote Chris.
Shout
I
out to
said,
Chris.
to Chris, I said, listen, everybody I know, like, Luca, I wanted to jump in with you or Forte, but you guys are so far ahead of me, and you guys know my pet peeve, right? So you guys are like, let's just say you're like level like 20 or something like that. I'm level like 3. So like all of a sudden, it's kind of like it comes down to it where it's, you guys are so far ahead, and it's like, well, Mooch, you just hide out back there. We got you covered. We got you. You stay back there. I want to like play with someone who wants to start from the beginning and work
Yeah, I
through it.
understand.
You know what I mean? So like,
Yeah,
Chris,
I
I
think,
saw. Go ahead.
I think one good to play might be Slomo, because Slomo likes to do different builds and start from the beginning there. So maybe he would be willing to do that. As it stands right now, I'm just trying to beat this. And
How
then I'll
many
see how
hours
I
are you
feel
into it,
after.
Luca?
Oh man, maybe 12.
Okay, that's not bad. Okay, all
Yeah.
right. No, that's
Yeah.
doable. If you said like 25 or
Luca's right,
30 or
though, like,
something.
Slomo probably already has multiple builds. I mean, he'll probably play with you.
Well, you can have multiple. You can have multiple saves for multiple builds, right? I believe, Luke. I only have one right now, but
Yeah, you can.
Roy, you're playing too.
I'm kind of over it. Not to say because I don't like it. It's just I've beaten it a couple times and I'm moving on. I'm not a big looter shooter fan, but I've beaten it twice, and that's all it's given to me. So.
No, I understand
Great
that.
game. It's a great game.
No, you beat the game. You beat the game. You're like, dude, I'm done with it. Shout out to TrueWiddy. He says Forza's also singing the "Not at Launch" tune. Yeah, we went over that already. TrueWiddy. BRAP kind of alluded to the missing features. We talked about it in depth last week as well. Shout out to Domino0. He says I'm $310 down on Spidey. He's got the CE, he's got the collector's edition and the controller. I'm ready. Domino, that doesn't surprise me, buddy. It doesn't surprise me. By the way, shoot one of those things over to Mooch. Thank you. The great Royal Boyle, he says, great to see Royal here. He says, what's good, CrossFire? Always here to show my support to the Mooch, man. What's good, panel chat? Hope everyone is having a great weekend. Royal, you bring out so much.
What's up?
This dude is always so positive on Twitter. If you could just, clone, let's clone Royal and have that be Twitter. It would be awesome. Royal, shout out to you, man. Hope you have a great weekend as well.
It's not Twitter, Mooch. It's X.
Oh, pardon me, X. It just doesn't. Listen, I don't have a problem with changing the name, but could we have just given it a name, not a letter?
It's called X's.
You can't block.
You can't. Well, soon you can't block.
Can you imagine?
Can you imagine that persona?
Imagine, somebody say, "Oh, what are you doing?" "Oh, I'm watching a video." "Where?" "On X."
On X.
Oh, yeah, that's not good. That's
what are you talking about?
You know what I mean?
Huh? What?
Like, I couldn't have called this podcast.
You're always
just
on your phone. What are you doing?
Everybody doesn't have their head in the gutter.
You can call it console on X. Doesn't really do well for it, but hey.
I still call it Twitter. I'm not calling this shit X. This shit is Twitter.
I'm still calling it Twitter. Until he gives it a real name, I'm calling it Twitter. Because X is not
going to give a real name. He's not going to give a real name.
That's fine. That's fine. But
that's the name. That's the X.
I mean, is it really a name?
He's proven.
It's a letter.
I'm just surprised that nobody like told him like, "Hey, bro, this isn't a good idea."
I'm sure people did.
Not the right people, clearly.
He probably told people.
He listens, to be honest.
No, I don't think so. That's it, Luca.
And you know what he said?
Definitely not.
And you know what he said? He goes, "You know what? They're so entrenched. They're so ingrained in this platform. They're not leaving." And he wasn't wrong.
You know, they said that about MySpace as well.
Yeah, but that's a different time.
And Facebook.
That's a different time. There was more options back then. There aren't very many options.
Well, listen,
viable options.
That man lit a sign up on Twitter, and it got 30 million views. So he gonna be fine.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like he's
Yep.
like he knows. Like,
Man,
he's
I'll
like,
tell
you
you,
know what?
something it just doesn't feel right to say. Like I said, it doesn't. You're speaking in a sentence and you're saying something. It doesn't
tweeting.
sound right to say. So
No,
I
think
wrote
about
this
this,
on
Mooch.
X.
From a it's funny. I was talking to a bunch of marketing folks this week, and like we were talking about AI and X, and everyone's like, from a marketing perspective, makes no sense. Like literally, tweeting is a noun in the English language that was created
Right.
for your platform. From a marketing perspective, like as a marketer, that's huge. Like that's almost like a 1 in a million type thing. Like when people like what these marketing professionals are telling me, like for your platform to
I
be a
think
noun in the English language, and he's like, you know what? Nope.
I think he wants to
Yeah, I gotta be honest,
solidify.
man. The older I get, man, all this social media shit is just like.
Oh no, man! Listen, it gets tired real quick.
It's like if something else comes up or like this shit crashes and burns.
Yeah.
Hey man, you catch me on YouTube if I make a video every once in a blue. I'm done with the social media.
You heard it here
man.
first. Persona said it. He said if X crashes, just look for him on YouTube. Which I'm right there with you, Persona. No, I would not miss that for a minute. It's fine.
Mooch, I got a question. Are
What do you got?
you picking up the queue? Is that
So I want to see. Here's the thing I want to see about it. I want to see the strength, what it's got inside of it. Is it going to make the remote play? How is it going to enhance it from what my iPad Pro can do for me right now? You know what I mean? Like, where are they stepping off and saying we're better because of this? I will say this: we can sit here. We could say, oh, thank you, Forte. You just took the words out of my mouth. You can say what you want. Okay, it looks corny, this and that. But when I'm playing my Steam Deck or even the ROG Ally, which I still have, I got to tell you, after a while, it's not. I don't find it that comfortable after about 30, 40 minutes. I got to put it down.
Not even with the ROG.
No, not even with the ROG. As a matter of fact, Persona.
Hey, yo, that's funny.
No, why? What did I do? What did I do?
Nah, because I know like a lot of people was hyping up that ROG, man. And
the reason is, but Persona,
man.
let me give you a real answer though. The reason being is the Steam Deck actually curls in the back, so you actually have that grip. The ROG doesn't do that curve, right? So the Steam Deck gives you the impression to the hand like you're holding a controller. Not quite, because it's still flat, but it's got a little bit of that bevel on the side. The problem with the ROG Ally is it's flat. Like there's really nothing. So you're kind of it's a much slighter curve. It doesn't have that. What Forte just said, that we want to sit here, we want to laugh at the Q light. Listen, I'm right there with you. I'm gonna grab popcorn and laugh with you because it does look a bit corny. But at the end of the day, it's a controller on both sides, and your hand closes around it like you're holding a DualSense. So if the screen is right, the tech is right, the price is right, those are a lot of things they got to nail for me to buy it.
Great game chip, by the way.
I really do think it's comfortable. I think it's going to be a comfortable way to game for a long time on the go, or even, let's be honest too, a lot of people when they show their Steam Deck, yes, you see people on Twitter, they're like, I'm on my way to Hawaii. I thought I would just, play a little bit before I get to the island of Fiji. Listen, most of us are just playing.
I'm gonna be honest, man. Like, yo, if I'm going to like, you
you ain't bringing nothing.
Shit, I ain't bringing nothing.
No.
I even like going to like whenever I have to like go to the office and stuff like that. I'm not bringing like my Vita or my Steam Deck or none of that, or my Switch. And I don't. For me personally, like gaming on a handheld like that on the go, I just don't. Nah.
Right, when you're done gaming, when you're out doing your hobbies, you're living your life. Like put gaming beside and live your life. Gaming's for the couch. That's just my take on it.
I mean, I'm with you 110%, but like realistically, a lot of people got to be honest with themselves. When they're playing their Steam Deck or their Ally, most times they're playing it on their couch or they're playing it in another room because a family member's occupying the television. Listen, it is what it, or even honestly, I see a lot of people play it in the yard. Like you're watching the kids or you're just outside. I see some people playing, right? They're smoking a cigar or enjoying their time. That's fine. But my point is you're not taking it on the go, going all over the world.
I've done that, Mooch. Like when my kids are in the pool and I got to watch them in the pool, like I'm out there with the Nintendo Switch.
God bless you.
I mean, I think for me, it's just mostly wherever I don't have a console, I always can have a console. I can play in the living room. Like sometimes I'll just sit there in my living room. It's no console up there, just a TV, and I'll whip out my Switch and I'll play some Breath of the Wild, some Tears of the Kingdom on it, or I'll do this or do that.
You need a console, man.
I do. I have 3 consoles.
Well, why don't you have one in the main room?
Because my wife already doesn't want me in that room. So if I put a console in there, she knows I'll stay there more.
Yeah, she doesn't want to see you then.
Yeah, exactly. That's a consoleless room right there.
So-
That's funny, man.
she keeps it that way on purpose.
So
That
what
is
do you?
funny.
So what do you?
Sometimes I'll sit up there and I'll just sit on the couch and I'll play my Switch or something. I mean, I get it. Like, I took my Switch to conference with me this week, and I never took it out my backpack because I was just, even knowing there was opportunities to play games and stuff, and I was in Vegas in a hotel, I decided just to never take it out because either I was too tired after walking around and doing stuff all day, or I valued my sleep. And when I wasn't doing something, I didn't feel like playing a video game. So
Listen, if I'm in Vegas, I ain't gaming. I'm
that's what I'm
partying.
saying. So I do, because I walked around the strip and stuff. So I do get why
In the
people
craps
say
table, you
that.
feel me? I'm trying to
Yeah,
win some money.
Exactly. You're like, I'm not playing games.
Yeah, I'm on the roulette, baby. I'm on the
Definitely took
roulette.
some of their, definitely took some of their
Like-
money away from them.
Sir, hitting the
is
craps table.
Yo,
100 out black all day.
shout
You
out
want
to
rolling dice, Forte? Come on, man.
I do have a question for you. I want to ask you, everybody in here has ever flown before? Everybody's flown
Yes.
before?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
flew.
Question. So I missed it by one flight because I came home at 5:00 in the morning yesterday. Vegas.
Jeez.
So the flight after me, a couple of my coworkers was on that flight, and they got, they overbooked the flight. So you know how the airline,
Yep.
it was Delta. They overbooked it, and they started offering people cash, incentives to take a later flight. The later
Yeah.
flight ended up being like 12 hours later, but it was the same day. It started at $1,000.
$1,000 for the cash award.
$1,000 Visa gift card if you just moves your flight 12 hours to a later flight.
Oh, I would
Yeah,
take
let's
that.
go.
Heartbeat.
I'm taking that to the craps
So-
table.
So
Let's
there
go.
were 16. So there were 16. So
You gotta
they
do
had.
that
So
for
listen.
I'm
So
getting
they
some free
offered-
cocktails.
So
I'm
listen.
putting
They
it on.
offered it to the first 16 people that would take it. 5 people took it.
Mm.
So the closer you
why
get to the
wouldn't you?
flight. So the closer you get to the flight, they still got 11 seats they need to get rid of. They upped it to $2,000.
Whoa.
They were giving cash
$2,000.
or vouchers.
I mean, this is Vegas.
Visa,
This is
Visa
Vegas,
gift
by the way.
cards. Visa gift cards.
So you take that Visa gift card to an ATM real quick.
Right, Visa gift cards,
You
$2,000.
go to the
Yo.
craps table. You
I'm
heard?
taking the I'm
Throw
taking
some dice.
I'm taking the money.
So, yeah.
Taking the money. Telling the family I'll see you tomorrow.
So two
I'm
Yes,
gonna
sir.
I'm gonna take a later
last
flight.
thing.
Yeah.
So 2 people took it at $2,000 and they still had 9 left. So literally 15 minutes before boarding, they said, listen, last offer, anybody that wants to move their flight from the 5:42 a.m. flight to the 10:30 p.m. flight today, $2,500.
Man, you could
Hey,
take
man,
you could get
listen.
you could go and surf and turf the entire day and still walk home
mean,
with $2
Well,
grand.
listen,
I mean,
Hey,
told-
man.
I would
listen,
be like, throw
was-
me.
I was flipping.
I
I
mean,
wish I was on that flight.
you should have, Forte, you should have done that.
I know I was already home. I
$2,500,
was
man.
already home.
That's a no brainer, man. I'd
When did
definitely
that
take
Forte? When did this
No
happen?
problem.
Yesterday. So I flew out. My flight was at 5:42 in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
There was another flight that was after us. The next one was like at 10:40 in the morning. And a lot of my coworkers that didn't want to get up early in the morning to make the early flight went on that flight. And
Was
so I'm
your flight also like booked?
No, my flight wasn't
booked out?
overbooked because it was like the
Oh.
first flight of the day. So
Okay.
we were 100% capacity. They didn't overbook it.
Forte, you probably could have negotiated $1,000 and
Listen.
access to the Admiral's Lounge.
Listen,
That's what I would ask for.
all I know is I'm sitting in the car driving home and I'm getting text messaging about, yo, they're offering this, they're offering that. And I'm like, why couldn't I be at why couldn't
Hey, yo,
I be
next
Listen,
time,
yo,
like,
next
I
time
was-
tell Delta to offer PlayStation 5s. They
No.
them
Oh,
Listen,
ain't that the truth?
I was at $2,500. I will leave the hotel, go see a show, go spend half that money at the casino and probably double it, and then come home with
Oh,
more
I
money
like
for my
that.
wife to be happy.
Yep.
I like
Yep.
that so sureness right there,
I
Forte.
just- I
Double
just-
that money.
I just
Well,
I'm
let me
interested if
ask
that
this
ever
question:
happened to
How
any of you
long?
guys.
How long would the later flight? How long would the flight from Vegas to wherever you live? How long is that flight?
They would have got home at 5. I think they got home at 5:32 a.m.
Mm.
Yeah,
Because, you know, you lose-
listen,
it's a
it's
3-hour
the
difference.
yo,
I mean,
persona.
you don't sleep
Okay,
in
it's a 3-hour
Vegas.
difference. Got
It
you.
doesn't matter. You don't sleep in Vegas.
Oh no, if I'm in Vegas, I'm not sleeping.
Oh no, I didn't sleep either.
I
That's
sleep on the
why-
plane. I sleep on the plane home. You
It was
feel
a little,
me?
it was a little rough sleeping home. But that's why I got home at 1:00, and when I woke up, it was 8:30, and Sloma was like, "Where the hell are you for DPS?" I was like,
Oh, shit.
Is that why Slow was
Listen,
gonna
that's
give
why
you a hard time last night?
That's why
I'm not-
Slow Mo put up a poll during the beginning of the show during the countdown screen. He put up a poll saying, "Is Forte gonna be on time for his own show today?"
Listen, I was just gonna say
literally woke
Forte.
up at 8:30.
So that was
right
with you
before
taking the
show.
flight. That was you taking the flight you did take. If you took the later flight, see, I'm just happy because listen.
if I
I'd,
would've took the
I'd
later
like you to have
flight-
2,500, but you wouldn't be on the show tonight if you took that
there
10:30
wouldn't have been-
flight.
There wouldn't have been no show. Because I
Right.
would still been in Vegas. If I
See,
would've
that's what,
took
well, you would
the
have missed this one
2300.
too because you would have been sleeping through this. I'll tell you right
I
now.
wouldn't- I wouldn't have went to work today.
Oh, okay. Well, that's different though. Shout out to the Magnum Gaming out there. He says the Q Lite can actually be a great portable PS5 around the house with the PS5's Wi-Fi 6 and Sony's 4K streaming tech with no latency. So Magnum, I agree with you, but now I said that, you said that. Here's who's got to say it. Sony's got to say it. They got to tell us why. Like they got to say why, and they got to have the right price on it. I'm not just jumping into that thing for no $299 or $350. This thing's got to be. I think if you want us to have a sweet spot, it's got to be it's got to be 200 or less, and I'm hoping for less. But I don't know if that's going to be realistic. I don't know if that's realistic. So we'll wait and see on that. Now I'm going to do a lightning round here. Instead of going person to person, asking everybody the same question here, just going to kind of hit on a couple of topics because it is 2 hours here in New York
Mooch,
now.
real quick,
Yes,
can I
Brap.
go first? Because I got to go.
You are going to go first, Brap. I'm going to go to you first. So
you have to go. Yeah,
Xbox did call on the gaming industry to preserve older games. And now we're seeing that they are shutting down just around 220 games, digital games on the Xbox 360 storefront. Just curious, Brap. This goes to what we say a lot of the times when we say, well, you know, a lot of people go, well, Phil said this and Xbox said that. And you got to go by what they say. It always seems like, you know, even with the Bethesda games, that they're not going to go exclusive. Then they go exclusive. I'm not that I say there's a problem, but they say things and then they do the opposite a lot of the times. So I guess, A, do you really care, Brap? Probably not. That the 360, a lot of the 360 digital games, 220 of them to be exact, I think in the article it read, I'll double check it while you're answering, are going to get shut down. But when they were the ones that come out and say, we are here for game preservation, we are the ones that do back compat. Now they've stopped back compat. Now they're stopping the game preservation. Where are you on some of this kind of, it's kind of like back talk really coming from Xbox?
Well, I mean, I'm not surprised. I'm actually kind of surprised they still had 360 games up, to be honest with you. But again, I mean, these are companies. They got to make money. They're going to market and say things and do things to drive engagement, to drive money, drive revenue. And so that's how I look at it. I mean, in terms of, game preservation, I mean, it's called Game Pass.
Yeah, but
So
Game Pass has some older games, but
yeah. But I think I wouldn't be surprised if, again, I don't know the list of games that they're pulling the plug on, but wouldn't be surprised if those games made it to Game Pass.
I think for the the reason it doesn't is not a really big deal to me. It's because the 360 they went back and they.
Hey Forte, I'm sorry, real quick. I gotta go.
ahead. Yeah, go
Gotta
ahead.
yeah, go ahead, Brap. Brap, thanks, buddy. I'll plug the
real
show
quick,
at the end, and I appreciate you being here, Brap. Thank you.
Peace.
Yeah, no, it's
Yeah.
great seeing everyone. Thank you. Great show. Persona, Luca, Forte, your boy Roy. Everyone have a great weekend.
Thanks,
I know,
Brap.
good weekend.
You too, bro.
Appreciate it, buddy.
Yeah, I think the only reason it doesn't really bother me is because they did go back and they did bring up a lot of 360 games and some original Xbox games up. They didn't redo the whole catalog. I think if this was the Xbox One generation that we were talking about, say 2 generations from now, and this is the Xbox One generation that they're shutting down in the store and everything, I think that would be a little more problematic, but I also think as long as they support those games on the newer systems, it's not that big of a deal. I just think they're cutting off the hub to Xbox 360, so you just can't access the store anymore. But if they ever did that with Xbox One, where they say, we're cutting off the hub to Xbox One or Xbox One X or anything, but you won't be able to access those games anymore, then it would be a problem, because then at that point, you're not really preserving games anymore. But as long as you still have access to those games on the new systems when they come out, that's all that really matters. Or did they just make their way to Game Pass or something like that? But that's the only time I would be a little bit more upset at it. But with it being 360, that was a system that Game Pass wasn't even thought of, or game preservation for them wasn't even a thing that they were thinking of back then. And I just really don't hold them against it for just that system in general. Just like I don't hold PlayStation accountable for PS3 because they weren't thinking about that then. You know, I hold them for PS4 and Xbox One though.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. I think when it comes down to it, I see Trey Boney says this is in the chat. He says this is not an issue. It's definitely Trey Bone. I agree with you. I don't think anybody on the panel or anyone in the chat's going to lose any sleep. But I think when it comes down to it, it's a lot of double talk, and it's like, you know, because when the beginning of the generation, like Xbox is so consumer friendly and PlayStation's not, and it's like now PlayStation 5s are cheaper than Xbox Series X's. You know, and it's like, and then we're gonna back compats the future for us. We're gonna preserve everything. Well, back compats stopped a while ago, and now they're gonna stop doing. You know, Xbox 360 games are gonna disappear off the storefront. Again, Xbox 360 games, not making a big deal of it, but it's like you say one thing, and the article with the preservation of games was, I think, a year ago or so, maybe a little over a year ago, and here we are. They're gonna get rid of it. So it's not that anybody's making no one's gonna lose sleep, but I think it's just odd that they say things and then they do another. So I wanted to get the panel's thought on that. But Luca, I'll go to you here for the next speed round question here, as we are over 2 hours here. You know, former Treyarch and Activision executive producer joins PlayStation, and then David Vonderhaar, which I'm probably saying wrong, leaves Treyarch, and former Treyarch and Activision, what do you call it there? He left Treyarch and Activision. He's been there for 18 years, Luca. So one of the things we've been saying on the show, you know, sporadically throughout the months, is as Microsoft starts acquiring these teams, people are leaving. And when you have your favorite place to eat, when the cook leaves, it slowly becomes not your favorite place to eat. So if all of these people do exodus and they leave, what does it mean to you, Luca, when you see them? You're like, wow, that's great. Xbox just picked up Bethesda, and Xbox just picked up ABK, and blah, 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 and Microsoft picked up this. But then when you start seeing people leave, and it doesn't matter if they go to Sony or they go to Netflix, you know, I don't care where they go. My point is if they're not there, the IPs eventually can kind of suffer. Same thing happened with one of the lead developers to Hi-Fi Rush, right? They're like, oh my God, Hi-Fi Rush is amazing. This is what we want to see out of that studio. And then one of the main guys is like, peace, I'm out of here. So you're like, all right, well, okay, that sucks. But what do you think, Luca? Is talent retention a problem for Xbox with these buys?
I think people leaving, I think that's normal when it comes to acquisition. Like, there's always going to be a couple people go elsewhere. And also, especially in the tech field, if you stay at a company for a long time,
Mhm.
but then you start to realize that, you know, you're kind of doing yourself a disservice because you may end up getting a better deal if you look around, try to go somewhere else, you know? Especially,
Absolutely.
like, there's a lot of recruiters who, am I saying these recruiters are the best? No, but there are a lot of recruiters that will reach out, and there's a lot of positions out there, and people can make like 10, 20,000 more dollars, 30,000 more dollars than what they were making at the company they were at before, you know?
Yeah.
So that makes sense. I think maybe Shawna would be a better person to ask because I don't play Call of Duty. So
Well, it's not
I,
just
I don't.
playing Call of Duty because it's happened across the board. Persona, I think, and I don't want to say it was, I don't like freeze or take a picture of it or anything like that, but I thought you had a comment on it. You've seen talent leaving. I know Bari has definitely put tweets out there. Shout out to Bari, by the way. He's checking out Blue Beetle, I think, tonight. Is that
Yeah, he said
Oh,
it
he
was
said it was
ass.
trash.
Oh, he
Yeah,
did
said
say
it was
that. I
trash.
didn't check
Sorry,
Twitter
Mirage.
yet. So okay, all right. But I mean, I'll listen to you guys tomorrow. I'm sure he's going to mention it. But Persona, what do you think? We've had you on the show before. This isn't something that's new, and I don't bring it up every week. I bring it up as it hits news, and here it's hitting again. Persona, where I understand what Luca's saying. People leave every day. That's in every industry, but there's a bit of an asterisk here. There's some high profile people. No, it's fine. No, there's some high profile people that are leaving from Playground Games. The founders left, right? I mean, it's kind of a mass exodus of the high talent. Do you think it's something that could substantially hurt these IP as Microsoft moves down the road with these acquisitions?
Yeah, so I don't want to sit here and say that the acquisition is the only reason why people are leaving, because Luca is 100% right, especially in the tech field, which I'm in. I see people leave all the time, so like people do leave. But I think to play the other side of the coin here, when you have leadership leaving, it can be detrimental to the success of a game or the success of a studio, because having a great leader or great leaders in those positions and able to lead and steer the team and get deadlines, meet deadlines and all these other things, that's definitely something that can hurt the morale of the studio.
Mhm.
And so, someone like David Vondar, who has been with Treyarch for almost 20 years, has made some of the best, in my opinion, some of the best Call of Duties that I've ever played, and has been a part of. I feel like that's definitely a big loss to the Treyarch team and really to Call of Duty in general. But I think only time will tell if him leaving really has any type of impact on Treyarch's ability to make a great Call of Duty game. When it comes to like other people leaving and joining, PlayStation or Nintendo or wherever they go,
Mhm.
I do think a lot of that is them chasing money. I do think a lot of that is them, wanting to try something new. And some of it is definitely, acquisition. Sometimes with acquisitions, and I think this is the side of things people don't really realize. When acquisitions happen, everything isn't just status quo, hunky dory. Things change, policies change. There's all types of things shift and all the types of things that change where some people might not like that, and that also makes people want to leave.
Yeah.
So I think it's a combination of things, including again, the acquisition making people want to leave. I think that also is a part of it.
No, I'm glad you said that. And I want to say, this is the part that gets me. It's like developer, executive producer, founder. Alvaro Ruiz, he says in the chat, no lead dev left from Hi-Fi Rush, Mooch. You got to stop pushing the pony agenda. Okay, so I looked it up. Shinji Mikami,
the founder,
the founder,
co-founder
I'll read it. The founder
yeah.
and CEO of Hi-Fi Rush, Ghostwire Tokyo, and the Evil Within developer of Tango Gameworks is departing the Japanese studio after 12 years. So Alvaro, my deepest apologies. I said developer. The founder, CEO of Hi-Fi Rush, Ghostwire Tokyo, and the Evil Within has left since being acquired. It's not an agenda. It's the news. It's the way it is, man. I know you guys don't like to hear it.
I'm sorry. Did he go someplace else?
As far as I know, he's still not employed by anyone else. No.
No, yeah, he talked about it like a couple years before that he was already contemplating retirement. So I see what Mooch is saying. I mean, because people do leave and people do come and go, but in that situation, it most likely was just because he was already set to be sunset on that position to be done with it.
Well, a lot of people are saying
it does happen across
everything. It does. No, it does. Absolutely. But people are even saying that like Todd Howard, this was rumored, by the way. They were saying after Starfield launches, not like the day after, but like this is probably his last baby. You know what I mean? He's probably going to be.
I mean, that makes sense.
Right.
How long it takes him to get games out.
No, you're right, Luca. Yeah, he don't got 20 years left for another game.
Like, he looks really. I mean, he looks absolutely fantastic. But like, he's been in the industry a very long time.
He's been there a minute. Yeah, absolutely. No, absolutely. Yeah. Listen, when these guys want to retire, I say enjoy yourself. Grab the best bottle of wine and go and do your thing. I mean, but yeah, but we have to also look at the other side of the coin, right? You do have to also say that when you lose one of your founders, it's not an easy pair of shoes to fill.
You lose the culture too.
Yeah, you lose the culture. And that's what I was going to say about but Bethesda, like, like they just like Perhonas just said, losing somebody of that ilk that has made some of the best games of that franchise is definitely something that's going to be hurt and felt. But a lot of people aren't going to really notice it until they start, until they see other games come out from that platform, especially with Call of Duty being a yearly title. Call of Duty at this point, they have lost so many people probably over the course of the last 20 years of making that game. And there's been ups and downs and peaks and valleys, but the game is still trucked on. Who knows how long it's going to keep going at the pace that it's going. But there will be something that will happen that will actually, make that game decline to a point where people probably don't want to play it. I don't know if this will be the move that does it, but if something like Todd Howard leaves Bethesda, that would be a monumental shift in the overall culture of that studio, because those are his babies. It'll be like the same thing when it's like the same thing with a lot of other people. With like if if oh my god, I'm having a what's a brain fart right now. If what's the name stopped making, like when he stopped making Metal Gear wasn't the same.
Kojima-san?
Yeah, Kojima. I couldn't think of his name right now. But yeah, if he stops making games, those games wouldn't have the same personality and wouldn't have the same overall presentation of what he made. Even if it was the same game, no one can have that same thought process in the way that they build those games out, because those are figureheads that mean more to the project than the game itself. They pretty much are the game at that point. And I think those are the people that really, really matter the most outside of the one or two, like really, really high up there developers that really, matter. Think if Neil Druckmann never left Naughty Dog, that would kind of hurt.
Exactly.
That would hurt.
Or
That
Cory
would hurt the
Cory
overall
Barlog.
culture of the studio.
And the thing is, we've seen examples of this actually. Shout out to Christopher Judge, who plays Kratos. He said during his speech last year that when Cory Barlog said he wasn't going to be the creative director for Ragnarok, Christopher Judge told him, "All right, I quit."
Yeah, he quit.
Right. And so so it's not like what we're saying is bullshit. Like the culture and leadership and things like that stuff is very important to the lifeblood of a company, and not just with studios, just companies in general. And when you lose good leadership like that, someone that's is just a great leader, able to steer the train, a forward thinker and things like that, that stuff hurts. It definitely does hurt. So I do think with Vandahar and all these other people leaving, it's definitely something to pay attention to.
It'll be felt. Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, okay, so your boy Ray, your quick question here, bro. Red Dead Redemption now available on PS4, PS5, and Switch. PS5 is locked at 4K 30. I really think that they're probably going to do like another patch with it later on down the road, but right now it isn't. Did Rockstar drop the ball on this port? We'll call it I believe it's a port. It's not a remaster, really. I mean, is it? If it's a remaster, that's fine, but it's definitely not enhancing much.
Is it 30 only?
It's 30 only. They didn't give
why the hell are you remaking it?
Yeah, I don't know why they didn't do a performance.
Okay, first of all, yeah, I loved Red Dead Redemption. I don't got the time to play it.
No shit.
Second of all, if you're gonna remake a game, why would you not make it 60 or 4K 60? Like, what's the point?
Well, you know what? Honestly, though, listen, Roy, we talked about it at the beginning of the show. I'll be fair. They could have easily done a 1440p or a dynamic or a performance and given us 60 frames as an option.
Let me ask y'all a question. Who on this panel bought Grand Theft Auto trilogy?
I did not.
So Persona, I love you. I love you, Persona. You were part of the 21 million people that bought that godforsaken crap game that we all shitted on because it looked terrible. And guess what? 2K saw that shit. It was like, we gonna do this all over again with Red Dead, and we're gonna sell 15 million at least of that.
It's the number one in both the Xbox and PlayStation store. I'm disgusted. I'm absolutely disgusted.
It's disgusting. And that's the reason this is happening. It's and like no shade on Persona, because he's just one person out of 21 million people that bought that game. His one decision to buy it didn't make or break any of this.
But I contributed. I accept my L. I contributed to it.
But it's the fact that people literally went out and clowned about how this was they didn't do. It wasn't like we didn't know that the game was going to be terrible, and the way that it looked and performed. It, like the PS2 version, looked better than what we were seeing when it came to the animations and the overall texture quality and stuff. It's not that we didn't know it was going to be like that, but people knew it and still went out and bought it. And this is basically telling Rockstar, or not really telling Rockstar, but telling 2K that we could put minimum effort around this. And then just couple that with the fact that it's never been available on Switch. Xbox has had the fortunes of it being backwards compatible, so we've always been able to play it on Xbox 360. But people on PS4 haven't been able to. So they're saying, "Oh, the most sold console of last generation hadn't played Red Dead Redemption, except for streaming it." the Nintendo Switch, the highest selling platform this generation as of right now, hasn't had a Switch copy, hasn't played that game yet. Oh, we about to make a lot of money.
Yeah, but I feel like my whole thing with this whole Red Dead Redemption situation is, it's more so for me personally. It just hurts to see Rockstar's fall from grace.
It's not Rockstar
For me
though.
personally. No, I get that, but like, yo, like when I go back to like PS2 generation where Rockstar, they made some of my favorite games, man. Like one of my
Yeah, I
favorite
agree.
games is the Warriors. You feel me? And I'm like, and Bully and all this other stuff, and I'm just like, yo, to go from that to like now what we doing? I'm just like, damn, bro, like y'all
We'll
are,
see what they can do with
y'all are
GTA
killing me,
6.
man.
Listen, Rockstar got their head down making Grand Theft Auto 6.
Yep.
But
It's a completely
Yep.
different studio. I would be mad if Rockstar was the ones that was doing this port. They're not even doing the port. 2K is giving this to somebody else, and they're gonna benefit off of it because casual gamers, mostly casual gamers, are gonna go out and buy this game because they're gonna say, for the creators of Red Dead, of Grand Theft Auto, and all this other stuff, and they're gonna get people hyped up to buy it. They're gonna sell 15 to 20 million copies of this game, and they're gonna laugh all the way to the bank because they know that as much as we cry about it, we're the ones that don't matter because we're not the ones that's spending the money on it.
I mean, they wouldn't do it if people didn't buy it, correct?
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's it.
People buy it. That's it.
I mean, we can say it's silly to do it, but if they see profit, then well, why not?
$60 for that game.
I get out of
That's
here.
crazy. That's crazy.
$60 for that game.
And can you really play as him after playing Red Dead 2?
At least,
like knowing
not
who
even
he
give
is
you
as a
multiplayer.
character. No, knowing what's his name, John Marston, right?
Yeah, John Marston.
From seeing who John Marston was from Red Dead 2, I'm like, oh, he was kind of the dunce of the crew. I don't want to play as him anymore.
Well, you know what it is, because remember, so John Marston was really young in the second one, so he definitely, I think the hard knocks he went, and I'm dating myself here now because I haven't played it in a while, but when that hard knocks that you learned by what he became from being close to Arthur and what he did, then when you see what he's transformed into in the original Red Dead, he is a much more gritty character in Red Dead. So I don't, Roy, have you played them both?
Both Red Deads? Yeah.
Okay, then you know. Okay, you were just making a comment on the thing. Yeah, I mean, I think that I think they kind of dropped the ball. If they just made the enhancements and put a little extra TLC in this thing, people wouldn't have minded putting the $50 down. But apparently, as Forte said, people are still putting the $50 down. So apparently, they can do no wrong until they actually get slapped on the wrist. Like CD Projekt Red went through a real learning curve, right? With they were basically untouchable after Witcher 3. They were untouchable. All you said was CD Projekt Red, and they had a halo right around their name. Then, of course, Cyberpunk came out. We know the story. Now they're saving face. Like this, I've heard Phantom Liberty. That's why I don't know. I don't know how I'm going to turn 24-hour days into 36-hour days, but somehow, some way, I am going to play that game. I cannot wait to experience it. And I'm starting from the beginning and running right through it, because this Phantom Liberty is not just a DLC. It's not just an expansion. This is also an update that really, really clarifies a lot of the lingering issues and the graphical problems and the performance across the entire game.
That's why I was waiting to do my first playthrough. I said I was going to wait until everything came out, since I had to wait for them to fix it.
Yep.
So
And this is the time. Unfortunately, it's coming out between like a lot of games, but this is what me and you've been waiting for, Forte. Shout out, I got a couple of super chats here. So shout out to the great Jimmy Harrison. Love the show. Anyone checking out Quantum Error? So Quantum Error has been, man, they've been running their mouth on Twitter.
Cool. It looks cool, though.
It does look good.
The trailer while he did it, and that looks cool.
My only thing with it right now, I'm getting, and I don't mean the same game. But I'm getting like Callisto Protocol vibes. You know what I'm saying? Where the cutscenes are gorgeous. Some of the games got some really good aspects to it, but then it maybe misses. I don't know. It's a small team. I'm gonna definitely try it out. I'm gonna check it out. Persona, you in on Quantum Error?
No, I'm good.
When is it coming out?
It's coming out in November.
I'm good.
Okay.
I'm good.
November belongs to Mario RPG.
Oh,
and Star Ocean Second Story remake.
Yes.
I need a Condemned.
And obviously Call of Duty.
If you're gonna make a survival horror, I need another Condemned.
Yeah.
I don't know if anyone's played that, but
No, I'm
give
with
me
you,
that.
Roy. I'm with you. I think that I do think Quantum Error is going to run into a very difficult time of year to come out. So we'll see. We'll see how that game's really going to have to impress. Social Destruct goes, great show, Mooch. Couple more days until Firewall Ultra VR 2. Hyped, buddy, right there with you. I will see you on there. I played some poker with Social Destruct on PSVR 2. That was a lot of fun. TrueWiddy's back. He says, the warrior is fire. So is Urban Rain from Namco. Pardon me. Appreciate that, TrueWiddy. Thank you very much. I was gonna go down Persona. Just want to hit one more question here, and then we'll call it a night. You said Call of Duty in November. I actually was lucky that I was working from home that afternoon on Thursday. I did play through at 1:30 p.m. Eastern time. I did play through the game. I thought the way that they introduced it through the game was kind of cheesy. You know, you linked up and then you went in. You had to grab those gas containers, bring them into safety, and then whatever, it gave you the reveal trailer. What'd you think of the reveal trailer? And I noticed you've been tweeting a lot about how you like the quality of life they're bringing back to Modern Warfare 3.
Yeah, I think I still need to see multiplayer gameplay. I really don't care about Call of Duty story. That's not why I play Call of
No.
Duty. I play for the core 66 multiplayer experience. So, although the story trailer, and I do think, all Call of Duty developers, they all make really good COD stories that look very nice and play very well. That's just not where my interest is personally. But from what I'm seeing, from what Charlie Intel has been putting out there, because he got to play some stuff like I think a month or so before. They bring in all the fundamentals of Call of Duty back. Ninja as a perk, red dots on the map, slide canceling, reload canceling, movement, and everything is looking good. But I still need to see and experience it for myself. So what the open beta is going to tell me if I'm going to be pre-ordering this game or not. But as of right now, from what I'm hearing, it sounds like it's going to be promising. So
yeah, I'm there with you. That's the whole thing, Persona. No matter what, I'm going to be there day one for Call of Duty. I don't think I've ever missed one. So like, I just, I don't know, call it a bad habit. I'm there with you, and I do like the advances. Roy, you picking up Modern Warfare 3? Did the reveal trailer do anything for you?
I mean, I'll probably pick it up because I'm game sharing with people, but it's just, for me, it's Call of Duty. I'm getting Call of Duty fatigue. I've actually probably had it like 3 years ago. I think Modern Warfare 2 story was a little, they tried to do too much with the crafting and the stealth. It's like, get all this gimmick shit out of here and just give me Call of Duty. And then I think what really makes the multiplayer is just the map. So if you can come with good maps, cool. If not, I don't know. But yeah, that's
well, I think it's launching with a lot of older maps from Modern Warfare 2 and 3, right? Yeah.
Okay. Which are, I mean, hey, you do that, that's what everyone loves.
Are there some of the, is it just Modern Warfare 3 originals forte, or are there some of the ones we didn't get from Modern Warfare 2?
Modern Warfare 2.
2, right?
It's going to be, so the launch game is going to have all remastered Modern Warfare 2 maps. So 16 maps at launch. And then there's going to be 12, there's going to be 12 brand new original maps throughout the seasons throughout the year.
16 maps is huge. That's way bigger than what Modern Warfare 2 was, correct?
Yeah, but they're redoing the older maps, which I kind of like, to be honest with you.
I mean, which is what everyone likes. Exactly.
Everybody likes that. They're playing to the audience right now for sure. No, outstanding show, guys. I want to say thanks to everybody, guys. Please, we still have just under 400. Please hit the like button on the way out. Let's try to hit over 150 on the way out, guys. It's been a great show. Everybody, I actually mooched all of this panel's time from their weekend. I appreciate everybody that was here. Please do hit that like button, subscribe button. I'll go in reverse order and say, Forte, usually you're a usual, so I usually do you last, but you're always coming in a little later, so I'm going to go with Forte first. Forte, great that you're here 2 weeks in a row. That is a record for the past 12 months, and I love it. Let's go for 3. Let's not give it up. Great having you, Forte. Love it when you're on the show, buddy. Let people know where they can find you. And I'm glad you guys were able to do DPS last night. You still did it for over 2 hours. Very impressed.
Yeah, definitely. I was tired, but I slept really well after DPS.
I'm sure you did.
Before I had to get up and go to work for Madden. Unfortunately, Madden just happened to launch the week that I was coming back. So that's why I was able to get here, because I didn't stay the whole day. I said, I got off a plane and went to work. I'm not staying all the way to close. It's not happening. But no, really, really great conversation. Really appreciate all the love and support you always do and coming to the show. So thank you for that. Shout out to my homie Luca. your boy Raw, Persona, one half of the What's Up. Love
That's
those
right.
guys over there. So make sure you check them out tomorrow. They're going to have a great show tomorrow, too. For myself, Gaming Forte, YouTube and Twitter. DPS was on Slow-Mo's channel last week. Come check us out next week. Going to be a great time. Going to have fun. I'm going to have a special guest that's going to come through, and we'll announce that on Monday or Tuesday. So be on the lookout for that. Outside of that, Luca wants to go play some Remnant. So
I know she does, and I've kept her from her gaming. She's not going to be happy with me, but Luca, I love it when you're on the show. Luca, I hope you will join us more and more often because I love your takes, and I love how you can just handle Crossfire like a champion. Luca, always great to have you on the show. You are literally like she's literally like a sister. She has because every time we tweet, it's legitimately I agree with her, and it's the craziest shit. It's gaming, it's food.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why is she beating me to tweeting this out? That's exact. Like when you said the bread, the jelly, toast, jelly, and butter. Nobody has ever said that except like my great grandparents, me, and you. I don't even know. She doesn't know this stuff about. Unbelievable, Luca. We are literally the same person, just separated by Chicago and New York. Luca, let everybody know where they can find you. And as always, thank you so much for being here tonight.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. I always have a great time hanging out with the Italian Eminem,
Well, you know.
And
Oh.
honestly, Mooch, I think about you every time I'm about to park my car, and I'm just like, should I park further away? Yes, let me park further away
Yes.
so I can get out the car and get some exercise in.
Yes.
I remember you saying that like years ago. So
Thank you for
you
remembering
know,
that. Yes.
yeah, like there's just a lot of history here, you know what I'm saying?
There
So
really
thanks
is.
so much for having me. I had a great time. Always have a fun time hanging out with the boys. Good to talk to Persona, good to talk to everybody. So Nautical, I'm gonna keep it real with you, buddy. I'm eyeing my bed. I kinda wanna go to bed, man. I don't know, but
Listen, we can do it. I'm off tomorrow, so we can do it all day tomorrow too.
all right, yeah, I don't have anything to do tomorrow.
Slow-Mo ain't
So.
respond to the text message either, so it's about to happen here.
Yeah. But thanks so much for having me, Mooch, as always.
Luca, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it. And honestly, if I see you guys on, is Remnant 2 cross-play across console and PC or no?
No, unfortunately.
Okay,
Unfortunately, yeah,
I was going to say, because I have it for PS5, but I know you guys are playing on PC. That being said, anyways, who knows? If it's on sale one time, I'll pick it up. You guys are probably like, Mooch, thanks for picking up on PC.
It's on
we
PC.
played
It's
that.
always on sale.
You're like, yeah, but you're going to be like, I played that like 6 months ago. I'm not going to play that now. But nonetheless, Luca, great to have you here. Can't wait till you're on again. The great your boy Roy is here. Roy, thanks so much for a lot of things, buddy. First of all, being here tonight. Second of all, supporting the channel and always being there and being a great friend, buddy. You're always writing me. You're always keeping in touch. You know you're always welcome on the show. Let people know where they can find you on your new YouTube, your new Twitch channel, and where they can follow you also on X in the future. Roy, great to have you here tonight.
Hey man, well, you never have to thank me for supporting your show because it is a great show, and I'm very honored to be on the show. I mean, compared to the Personas and the Lucas and the Fortes and the Braps and the Dark Optimists, like the people who really know the industry. I'm just a guy who plays games. I'm ignorant. I'm ignorant to the industry. I just play games. So I really appreciate you inviting me on, but. Yeah, I'm just kind of starting up. I'm on the Twitch. You can find me at your boy Roy, 2 eyes, and then underscore between the words. I mostly do Twitch, and what I do is I try to just talk about the games. I'm not into the news. I'm not into the controversy. I just really deep dive into the games, and it's a casual conversation. So I have a light schedule now until Liza P, and then I'll really be streaming that later. And yeah, I appreciate being on the show. I look forward to being on the show in the future.
Thanks, your boy. Ray. You know what? Don't undersell that. You know, in all honesty, a lot of people do the news. A lot of people do the controversy, the back and forth. The one thing that I always appreciate and makes me tune into podcasts and tune into especially Twitch streamers or anybody streaming on YouTube as well, talk about the games, man. Talk about the games because that's where the passion comes from. If that's your passion, follow that, Roy. So honestly, great to have you on the show again. And then gaming with Persona. Persona, you know I love your hot takes. And I love how you throw your spicy takes out there on Crossfire. And you do sprinkle it. You sprinkle it in on What's Up PlayStation. That's, you know what I mean? It just makes everybody up a little bit. But shout out to you, man. Let everybody know where they can find you. I can't wait. Listen, I'll see you in the chat tomorrow. So I'm already going to be talking to you tomorrow, no doubt. And shout out to Jay Barry as well. Persona, let people know where they can find you. And thanks for being here tonight.
Yeah, first off, man, shout out to you, Mooch, man. You know, it's always good to be here, man, chopping it up with the CrossFire family. You feel me? With the chat and
Thank you.
everybody. Shout out to the chat. Shout out to the panel, man. Shout out to Luca. You know, it's been a while since I've been on the panel with her, so it was good to chop it up with Luca. Shout out to the Scum crew. Shout out to Forte, DPS. And shout out to your boy Roy, Dark Artemis, everybody that pulled up BRAP. You know, it's good to chop it up and talk with y'all, man. So shout out to y'all. For me, man, you know, this Saturday, What's Up PlayStation podcast, me and Bari, episode 137. This week, our special guest is going to be Genki. He is somebody on YouTube and Twitter, and he, you know, he does a lot of the Japanese-centric gaming news. So, you know, and he's a really, really good guy, man. So, you know, we've been following Genki for a long time. So it's really great to have him on the show. So we're going to have him on this Saturday, chop it up, talk about some games. And yeah, man, that's it, man. You can follow me on Twitter at Persona Speaks, but I post a lot of gameplay, so you might not like that. So, you know, who knows? So, you know, follow at your own risk. You know, I sprinkle a little bit of, you know, console war jokes in there here and there, but I mostly post gameplay and talk about the games. So, you know, if you're looking for something that's going to be nonstop console war, you're at the wrong place. But you know, follow if you want.
Listen, and if you really want to check the spicy stuff out, check out Persona's tweets in the morning, will you? Because those are the best. When you see an Arthur meme or an Arthur gif, be prepared.
Absolutely.
There's some heat.
Absolutely.
There's some heat in that.
That's a little sprinkle, you know.
Little sprinkle. There's a little heat in there. A little heat in the morning. I love it. That's how. Yeah, I always got. I'm at work. I got my coffee, and I look at my Twitter, and I'm just flipping through. And there's that Arthur gif, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna read this one a couple times. This is good. But Persona, keep it coming, man. We always appreciate that, man. Keeps everything lively. The Great Gaming Forte, Luca, Persona, your boy Roy, of course, BRAP, Basement Radio Arcade Podcast, Wednesday nights at 9. The Great Dark Optimus, who had to leave a bit early. Shout out to Dark Optimus, outstanding individual. Follow him. It's at Dark Optimus on X. Keep saying Twitter, and it's X. That being said, guys, we'll see you next week, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Look for me on Twitch, actually, honestly, because we're going to be doing a little Texas Chainsaw Massacre this weekend. I think it'll be a lot of fun to have a lot of people on there. That's definitely something a crowd wants to watch in person. That being said, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, maybe hit the join button on the way out, and we'll see you next Friday. Peace out, enjoy yourself, and do some gaming this weekend. Good night.
Bye.